They are charged with premeditated murder as well as robbery with aggravating circumstances. Tandoluhle Ngcobo has more.
Speaking on the sidelines in court this morning, leader of the Nigerian Council, Nuobi Smart, reiterated that the issue of e-hailing drivers being targeted is not a matter of their nationality, but rather an issue of rampant crime. Smart says the council is trying to raise funds to help settlers' families send his body back to his home country of Nigeria, where his mother and 2 younger siblings are.
The Nigerian ambassador to South Africa was here this morning alongside with the diplomatic corps this morning. I spoke to them. So what we are going to be doing, we are going to be raising funds, a donation. So whoever who cares to support good cause should be able to be part of this donation.
Meanwhile, police are on the hunt for a 4th suspect believed to be involved in the crime. Tandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
Deputy Minister of Defence Bantu Holomisa has defended the decision to deploy soldiers to help the police in Gauteng and the Western Cape fight gang violence as well as illegal mining. He says those who do not agree should come up with solutions rather than criticising that decision. Holomisa has told EWN today that he's confident the move will yield the desired results, adding that the soldiers are ready and could be out in the streets soon. Babalondenze reports.
President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to deploy the army to help in policing in the 2 provinces has received a mixed reaction. While commentators and some organizations support the idea, those opposed have warned that it's not a sustainable strategy to dismantle drug networks and to put an end to illegal mining. But Deputy Minister Bantu Holomisa says instead of criticizing the move, they should provide solutions.
So be it. We are not going to nurse the feelings of analysts who are not coming up with solutions as to how do we deal with the crime on the ground.
He says the army is ready to be deployed after conducting some groundwork.
We send our own military intelligence to scan the area and to make sure that when we deploy our troops are safe.
Holomisa says the public shouldn't worry about the soldiers' conduct because there are institutions in place that exercise oversight over defense, including Parliament. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Action SA is proposing that only 10,000 new applications for asylum seekers be considered by government every year. It's making the proposal as part of its submission on the revised white paper on citizenship, immigration and refugee protection. It was published for public comment by the Home Affairs Department last year. The party says its proposals are based on the reality that uncontrolled immigration, policy failures and weak enforcement have resulted in the exploitation of foreign nationals and displaced South Africans from fair access to jobs, services and opportunities. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Action SA is proposing that quotas be set per nationality for determining asylum and refugee applications to ensure no single nationality dominates inflows while still protecting genuine cases. MP Malebo Kobe says annual migration targets should be presented to Parliament to improve oversight, fiscal planning and service delivery. The party says it supports the first safe country principle proposed in the white paper, making it clear that those who pass through safe third countries are ineligible to seek asylum in South Africa.
Our system currently rewards non-compliance, undermines labour standards and national security, and leaves citizens competing for scarce resources in their own country.
Action SA believes asylum permits should only be valid for 12 months, that refugee status be reviewed upon renewal and automatically revoked or rejected if the individual returns to their country of origin at any point. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And the death toll following a cyclone in Madagascar has now risen to 59. This is the latest in a string of tropical storms to batter the southern African island in the recent months. Cyclone Gazani, which made landfall last week, has damaged at least 25,000 homes and flooded more than 200 classrooms. Government has declared a national emergency following the cyclone. Gold is trading at $5,027.98 an ounce. The rand is at $15.94 to the dollar, $21.78 to the pound, $18.93 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.78 a barrel.
In Bryanston, there's slow-moving traffic on the N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive, while in four ways. Traffic also sluggish on Winnie Mandela Drive. This is between the N1 and Witkoppen Road, and also in Melrose, there's slow-moving traffic on the M1 South between Ethel Oaklands and Killarney Bends.
In your sport, Proteas women seeking series whitewash over Pakistan. Afghanistan's win over the UAE sees the Proteas through to T20 World Cup Super 8s. And Mamelodi Sundowns to find out the CAF Champions League quarterfinal opponents on Tuesday.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 24 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN, the city of Ekurhuleni has placed its head of legal services, Kemi Buhari, and the head of human resources, Linda Klashega, on full suspension.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Calling all the brightest minds in Gauteng. Time to flex your general knowledge smarts in the brain of 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app. DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
.702 Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possibility begins here. Good afternoon, everyone. It's 10 minutes past 3 on Monday, the 14th of February. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. Hope you had a great weekend. Can the blue light convoys that allow senior politicians to race through our cities and towns do absolutely whatever they like? Go as fast as they please, head the wrong way down one-way streets. Are the rules on this vague, or are they absolutely clear? We'll talk about that in the light of footage doing the rounds today of Deputy President Paul Mashatile's convoy going down the wrong way on a one-way street. Stefanie Fick joins us from Outer with her take on what the rules say at 10 to 4. In other stories, speaking of law and order, the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department has announced that it plans to do vetting of more than 3,000 of its members. Alpha Ramoshwana has that story in a moment. As Canal Plus wields a sharp blade to cut costs at DSTV, could local content, especially in Afrikaans, be on the chopping block? That's story after 5. And at the start of another week, the beginning of the road for another person who hopes to end up at the destination that is marked 702 Brain of the Week. That'll only be clear on Friday, but we begin the road today. Be sure you're listening with us at 10 to 5. On the markets today, the All Shares making a reasonable start to the week, up by 580 points with good gains in all the sectors. Telkom up by 2.95%, Coronation by 2.8%, We Buy Cars up by 2.6%. On the downside, there always is one. Tungela is off by 3.7%. Sasol by 3%. Mondi by 2.5%. Rand currently trading at 15 Rand 96 against the dollar. A euro will cost you 18 Rand 92. 21 Rand 78 will get you a pound. Price of oil is up by 19 cents, 19. Brent crude currently trading at $67.76 a barrel. Stephen Curtis joins us with all the market news at 25 past 4. We'll get sport with Tola Kele Mganga. That's at about 25 minutes to 4. Mbali Dlamini has the latest news headlines. Karabo Chale is keeping an eye on the roads. Speaking of sport, by the way, the Proteas were fantastic on Saturday against New Zealand. But as a dyed-in-the-wool Proteas fan, somebody who's seen disappointments, although we should be a little bit less vulnerable now that we are the World Test Cricket Championships. But when the team is playing so well at this stage of a tournament, it is, after all, early days. Do you find yourself growing in optimism or actually becoming rather more nervous? Give me a call on that. I'd love to know. I'm always interested in the psychology of sports fans. 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. If it's happening in 702 land, you will get to hear about it here first. but we do always welcome your assistance. If there's a story we don't know about, an angle on a story we might have missed, please get in touch. 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. It's 13 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So lots to talk about, lots to inquire about, lots to think about. And when it comes to some of the things that we ask you to think about and we express some thoughts of our own, some of them are purely random. They just pop out from either chance conversations or things we observed, or there are serious things in the news that we ask you to give us a view on. And then there's somewhere in between, because I don't think anybody is following the Winter Olympic sport of curling particularly closely, unless, of course, it prompts a really interesting thought, which it seemed to have done with my colleague Jonathan Fairbairn, putting the show together this week together with Rifue Litsua. Kabazela, very good afternoon to you. Hope you had a good weekend. Tell us exactly what you have on your mind there.
Yeah, afternoon, John. Weekend was good, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, like, have you ever played sport or games with somebody and you suspected that they were cheating?
Yes.
And then how did you handle the situation? Do you kind of think, okay, you have to have concrete evidence or proof to accuse them, or do you just call them straight out and say, hey, you were cheating there, I saw what you did? And then often it can end up in maybe a bit of a disagreement or a fight with somebody.
Yes.
And on I think it was Friday, there's this curling at the Winter Olympics. It was between the Canadian men's team and the Swedish men's team. And the Swedes called out the Canadians and saying that they were cheating. Now, I have no idea how the game of curling works, but I know you have this granite stone that you hold and you kind of skate forward, and then you have to release it at a point in time before it passes a green line.
Yes.
And then obviously it goes and you got to get it as close to something as possible further down the ice. And they accused this guy of double touching the granite stone after he had released it.
Oh, so once you've let go, you can't touch it again.
Yes, and you have to let it go before it gets past this green line.
Yeah.
So then it happened apparently with the Canadian women's team as well, that they were called out for this. So it's very complicated, but the one guy from the Swedish team called him out and said, you know, you were cheating there, this is what you did. The Canadian politely told him to F off, and then the Swede says, well, we'll watch back on the video.
Okay.
So anyway, he maybe thought that there he had some concrete evidence of what he saw that would back up what he was saying.
No pun intended with the granite thing they're pushing around, yeah.
But that's the question remains when it comes to somebody that you're playing, you know, weekend sport with. It could be golf, could be paddle, it could be anything. It could be your family board games. And somebody cheats. Do you call them out straight away? Or do you think I need to have like proof before I do? I remember I watched this video. It took place at a local golf course in the East Rand.
Right.
And I think it was their club champs, which is a big tournament once a year. And this guy from across the bar had shouted and said, "You're a cheat, man. You're a cheat." And this guy who was accused of cheating went over to him and flattened him through a glass window.
Okay. Yes. Which doesn't absolve him on cheating.
No.
It just means he threw the first punch in it and it landed. So just to be clear about the curling thing, there was no sandpaper involved because I don't think that would help. But that's another sport.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's another sport.
Although I don't think Sweden play that. So, Karabo Charlie, I mean, we were chatting about this a little bit earlier. I mean, cheating in games, is it different, for example, if you're playing with a kid? Or do you need to, like, early on in their lives say, hey, listen, you can't move 6, you threw a 5 if it's a game of Monopoly or whatever it is.
I let it slip with my son a lot.
Yes.
He cheats like, every day when we play soccer, he'll come up with excuses of why that wasn't a goal, and I'll just let him have it, you know? But then it gets to a point where I'm like, no, nonsense, that was a goal. And you can't accept it anymore. But I let a lot of his cheating kind of slip. My sister also she used to cheat a lot playing Monopoly. She loved being a banker. So we'll just let her be the banker. But then obviously sometimes we have partners. So she'll have and then she'll sneak some notes to her partner.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, come on. How come you always have money and like to buy things and stuff like that? But obviously, eventually when we catch her, then I just like, nah, I'm not playing anymore.
You end the game.
I end the
away.
game right there.
We're done. So, I mean, this stuff can really poison friendships and end relationships. You know, you play tennis with your mates, you're all calling your own shots, and the ball is constantly called out or in when you believe it's neither. The call is inaccurate. I nearly said it's neither. It's obviously either one of the other. But I think the point's clear. So give us a call. I mean, it can be lighthearted and funny, or it could be a little bit more serious. But I certainly know friendships that have taken significant strain around the way people play games, and competitiveness verging on cheating and then becoming blatantly so can really put a friendship into real strain. So give us a ring on that on 011 8830 702 072 702 1702. No cheating when it comes to what's happening in the traffic. Well, I suppose there is actually. Some people go round emergency lanes. That's also cheating when you're just a regular vehicle. But what's happening on the roads, Karabo?
Well, at this stage, let me start in the northern suburbs. Bryanston, slow-moving traffic on the N1 southbound. This is between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive in Sunninghill. Also slow-moving traffic. This is on Witkoppen Road between Rivonia Road and Maxwell. Four ways, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen Road. Traffic is also a bit sluggish on the M1 South from Ethel Oakland to Killarney Bends. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Now, I just need to correct something very quickly because we posted on our social media posts, have you ever confronted someone who you suspected of cheating? Now, people are getting into some quite fierce debate about cheating on your partner. So can I just be absolutely clear? We're not talking about intimate relationships here. We're talking about cheating in games. Sorry, I should have been absolutely clear. Cheating in games. Please give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Help me understand this. How can Rand Water not have issues with their infrastructure, but Joburg Water mentions the issue of infrastructure as one of the challenges? Because you guys also work hand in hand together.
Rand Water operates as a bulk supplier, but they operate at that side of the system in the value chain. And the Johannesburg Water is operating at the distribution side. We are affected by the context that affects the municipality. You remember, the shareholder of Johannesburg Water is the city of Johannesburg because city of Johannesburg is a water service authority, while Johannesburg Water is a water service provider, but the authority lies with the city.
Kukuletu Kuma, who's the operations manager for Joburg Water.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Get your brain in the game because the brain of 702 is back with your chance to flex your general knowledge smarts. There's 3,000 Rand up for grabs every day, and Brain of the Week wins 10,000 Rand plus a spot in the finals to compete for the grand prize, 30,000 Rand cash. Enter on primemediaplus.com now. Then catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa and 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, for your chance to be the brain of 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
Psst. Hey, no longer feeling like the man you used to be? The man who introduces himself and people say, I know.
The fact is, 95% of men with low testosterone go untreated.
Vitamin High Performance Supplements for men helps recharge energy, regain lean muscle, and reload performance. Available at all good pharmacies and Vitalamin.co.za. Vitalamin. Don't get older. Get better.
Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
Outsurance Business Insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a guaranteed premium for 12 months even if you claim? for electrical, tradesman services, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed Insurance FSP. TCs and information online.
When the Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702, brings you Z, Focalistic, Dali Wonga, Zoe Mudija, and more. Fashion, art, and music will take center stage. And so can you by playing the daily Mahindra Fusion Fest quiz on 702 for up to 10,000 Rand and 2 tickets to the fest. WhatsApp the keyword Mahindra to 072-702-1702 with your name and ID number. Every day this week from 1 p.m., 702 afternoons with Ekurhuleni Mabucha could call you back. The Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Oh, okay, let's focus our attention on this story now. The Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, I think it's fair to say, reacting to the massive amounts of bad publicity it has got through issues coming up at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, has now jumped into it and said, okay, we're now going to do vetting, lots of vetting of the police who work under our name and wearing our uniform. Apparently 3,000 officers are going to be vetted in one way or another. The rules, as I understand it, the protocols of the EMPD was that this is meant to happen every year, hasn't happened since 2022. So, who are they getting to do the vetting? Is it too little, too late, or is this at least a step in the right direction? Let's get the thoughts of our EWN reporter colleague, Alpha Ramushwana, who's covered a lot of different stories out in Ekurhuleni and knows the metro well. Alpha, very good afternoon to you. Suddenly we have action. I don't know, I've ascribed it to what's come out of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Not that it needed that commission for them to know what the problems in their ranks were, but be that as it may, is this going to make a difference?
I mean, you would know that on this very same show, on this very same platform, we've been reporting about the corruption allegations in the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department for a little bit over 2 years now, since 2023. The reports that we've uncovered, the reports that we've reported about are reports that the leaders of the city knew for many, many years and at times swept them under the carpet. So the allegations of corruption are not new there.
Yes.
They are now vetting their Metro Police Department officers. Some say it is more of a reactive approach rather than being proactive because of the allegations that we've heard at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And they've appointed an independent forensic firm to conduct these processes of vetting their EMPD officers. And this process is going to take a little bit over 2 months. And so at the end of this 2 months, the city says they expect a detailed report from this independent forensic firm about the state of the EMPD and the officers in the EMPD. But you'd remember that at the State of the Nation address on Thursday, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that this state security agency is going to be roped in to investigate all Metro Police departments. Of course, it includes the EMPD. So this process that the city launched today is going to happen at the same time, simultaneously, with the SSA's own vetting process. So it's definitely a reactive approach after the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry found serious irregularities at the EMPD.
What are the terms of reference for the EMPD's own vetting? I mean, have they shared any of those details for you? What are they looking at? Are they looking at whether people had had criminal records at the time of their hiring? What's the scope?
Yes, so it's along those lines, looking at whether some of their EMPD officers have criminal records. They're going to be using biometric systems as well to obtain any information about the officers at the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, from the top officers to the most low-ranking officials. They're going to be vetted over the next 2 months. They started with that process today. So what they did say is that biometric systems will tell them everything that they need to know about their officers, from criminal records, from whether or not they've served time in prison, if they're out on parole or anything of that nature. So really what they're looking at is also whether or not their fingerprints have been found as well at crime scenes. I mean, you would know that EMPD officers at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry are accused of allegedly killing a man and disposing of their body. The unfortunate killing of witness D is one of the people who was allegedly involved in that murder of that person and disposing of the body. Julius Mkwana, the suspended EMPD top cop, was also involved. And I just forgot his name, the implicated official who died by suicide a week ago, his name is just slipping my mind. He was also involved in that incident. So they're trying to see whether or not their officers have been involved in any criminal activity.
It really does sound to me like a kind of a hit and hope, because, I mean, surely checks for criminal records and time spent in prison, they're part of so many ordinary applications for jobs that are not as sensitive as being a police officer. Are they implicitly admitting that they never did this when they hired people in the first place?
Well, they could have, but with the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, the regulation requires them to do it annually, that each and every single year they need to be vetting their officers to check if they committed any crime in between.
Okay.
They do conduct vetting when they are hiring their officers, but the regulation requires them to do it annually to check if over the past 12 months anything could have happened. And so they haven't done it in 4 years. I mean, 2022 was the last time they did this vetting. It's been 4 years. They're only doing it now, supposedly because of the findings in the interim report of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. So it does seem that it's very reactive rather than proactive, but they are doing it now only because something could have happened in between. They do the vetting process at the beginning.
So just a final one. Unions often insist on being consulted before this happens. I'm assuming, well, I don't know if they were or not, but the unions, I'm almost certain, will have something to say about this. Have they spoken yet?
Yes, we've seen the South African Municipal Workers Union in Gauteng a few minutes ago actually releasing a statement saying that they believe it's a violation of the worker rights. The EMPD officers who are under the South African Municipal Workers Union feel that they should have been consulted way ahead of time and given a heads up that they would be vetted. But that also would mean that they would need to challenge the president's declaration at the State of the Nation address that the state security agency is being roped in. So although they may be unhappy, the unions may be unhappy, the president also has a declaration of his own. They would need to challenge that as well, which likely would be unlikely to be successful.
Thank you so much, Alpha Ramashwan. I think we must try and get Samu on the show and just get a better sense of the grounds for their objection. We'll see if we can get that on the show today. 29 minutes now to 4 o'clock. Bali Dlamini with us with the very latest Eyewitness News. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. A criminologist and gang expert says the deployment of the SANDF to gang-infested areas in the Western Cape will only work if it's planned properly with the SAPS and other law enforcement agencies. Last week, President Cyril Ramaphosa used his State of the Nation address to announce that the army will be deployed in the Western Cape as well as Gauteng to help police in tackling gang violence and illegal mining. The president's announcement comes as various areas of the Western Cape continue to experience a surge in gang-related violence. Carlo Peterson takes a look.
Gang expert Professor Irvin Kinnes says a previous SANDF deployment in gang-riddled areas in 2019 highlighted insufficient planning between the Army and the SAPS.
I don't think that there was sufficient planning with the SAPS because they disagreed on the strategy when they go into these particular communities.
Kinnes says communities have lost trust in the police.
It's a serious issue. Since 2019, the levels of trust in SAPS is a huge problem.
Kinnes says an evaluation of the previous deployment showed no real difference in curbing gang violence in affected communities. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
Milk South Africa says it's unclear exactly how a widespread outbreak of foot and mouth disease will impact dairy products. This as the Western Cape records its first ever case in the dairy herd. Zambia and Namibia have banned all livestock imports from South Africa, while Zimbabwe has indicated its market will remain open to milk treated at ultra-high temperatures. But Milk South Africa's vet advisor Mark Chimes says many facilities are not able to double pasteurize or produce ultra-heat treated milk in accordance with standards set by the World Organization for Animal Health.
So on the one hand, we might end up with more dairy products ending up in the country because you cannot export it. But on the other hand, then we're probably going to see a drop in milk production as well, which will then counterbalance the oversupply of milk. Very difficult to say which way it will go.
In the Western Cape, 3 grade 10 learners from Lavender Hill High School are facing disciplinary action after an unidentified substance believed to be drugs was found on the school premises. The Provincial Education Department says the matter was reported to the police, who have taken the substance in for testing. Department spokesperson Bronagh Hammond.
The school has engaged with the parents concerned, and disciplinary processes will now follow in line with departmental policy.
And the Ukraine's former energy minister has formally been named among officials implicated in a corruption scandal. German Kalumsheko was detained yesterday while attempting to leave the country. He was accused last year of taking part in a $100 million kickback scheme from contractors building fortifications to defend energy infrastructure against Russian attacks. Investigators now allege they found approximately $12 million in bank accounts linked to his family. Should he be charged, he faces up to 15 years in prison. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 24 and 26 degrees.
Bryanston, slow-moving traffic on the N1 southbound between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive, while in Melrose, traffic pressure on the M1 southbound between Ethel Oakland and Killarney Bend, and in Sandton heading towards the M1, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Grayston Drive between Sandton Drive and Catherine Street.
The top story in EWN, a criminologist and gang expert says the deployment of the SANDF to gang-infested areas in the Western Cape will only work if it's planned properly with the police service.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
The Minister of Water and Sanitation, Pemi Majodina, was in Addis Ababa. She was part of a water breakfast event held on the sidelines of the African Union summit over the past weekend. She went and did the clouds are gathering again. And then she goes, thunder! Double thunder! Double thunder! Thunder! This is an international water song. When we say clouds are gathering, you've got water experts, scientists, engineers. What do you make of it? This, to me, seems like a minister who is unserious. Tell me I'm wrong.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring Metropolitan. Their Chief Marketing Officer, Lindiwe Gumede, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
Managing your workforce shouldn't be complicated. That's why businesses choose Onacy, a proudly South African cloud-based payroll and HR solution. From payroll and e-recruitment to performance management and self-service tools, we streamline the way businesses handle their people. Scalable, secure, and always online, our system evolves with your needs because your workforce deserves the best. Switch to Onacy and experience payroll and HR done right. Visit onacy.com today.
Naked people run faster because naked people spend less time on insurance admin and more time working on their personal bests. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, Dr. John. I think a little bit of cheating in friends and family
games is part of the fun. So if nobody else cheats, then I will cheat and hope to be caught, Or if I catch someone cheating, then I will be so vocal and ride you and roast you, and it becomes a bit more fun. That's what I think.
Talking about cheating in games, ask anyone who's played the game called Tunny. It's a card game. Cheating is a fundamental part of that game. And if you do get caught, there's a harsh penalty of 4 balling. Anyone who's played that game will understand what I'm saying. Cheers.
Yo, good afternoon, John and Kavazel. Talking about cheating, especially with golf, I experience that all the time, especially when I play with this specific player that I won't call by their names. In most cases, I'll always, Moses, when you're playing against the other person, you would always count each other's golf shots and stuff. This guy will always, all the time, you'll always have 1 shot less than I am. Sometimes I would beat him in 1 or 2 holes maybe, but he would always, like whenever he counts, he would always say par, Betty, par, this, that. And I'm like, you know what, I can't keep doing this anymore. I'm just going to play my game of golf because you know what it is. It's a game that is filled with obstacles and others. So just paying attention on playing my game and everything else. But it becomes so irritating to be looking after a person who's playing golf and while cheating at the same time. So yeah, it is what it is, man. Jeff in the Val.
I mean, Jeff's message is very detailed. And while he was talking, I was just thinking about it. Why would you want to carry on playing with somebody who you know is cheating? I mean, apart from the fact that even in social sport, I think people generally want to win. If you're playing in your club's tennis championships and you're in the semi-finals or whatever it is, you presumably want to win. But secondly, the absolute disrespect for you that is, I was going to say implicit, but it's not implicit at all. It's absolutely front and center that they are showing for you by cheating under your nose. I mean, Jeff, I'm sure it's complex and there's a lot of social relationships, but it doesn't sound to me like it's much fun playing with this person. Is there a lot of cheating in golf? I mean, I don't play the game. Paddle, can you cheat in paddle? I don't know. I've never played paddle, but are there lines involved? I suppose there must be of some sort. Cheating in paddle, maybe you can tell me about that. And tennis, obviously, if you're calling your own ins and outs, then there's a lot of ways to cheat as well. What about in poker schools where there might be a little bit of money involved? Have you ever had a fallout with somebody because there's cash on the table that you think should be yours? Give us a ring. Cheating in games, please. 072 702 1702. 19 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly, I thought the Proteas were absolutely fabulous on Saturday. Is there any such thing as peaking too early, or should you get into your groove as soon as you can?
Get into your groove as soon as you can and keep it going until the final where you hopefully win it.
Okay, sounds like straightforward advice. What have you got for us?
Well, John, the Proteas women will be aiming for a whitewash when they take on Pakistan in the third and final T20 in Kimberley tonight. All-rounder Nadine de Klerk has applauded the support the team have received throughout the games.
It's kind of been the story over the last year or so. I actually spoke to someone the other day and I said it's insane how much women's cricket has grown in South Africa. Probably starting from that 2023 World Cup where it kind of changed the way people look at women's cricket, and it's great to be a part of it.
For the men, they've qualified for the T20 World Cup Super 8s thanks to Afghanistan's win over the United Arab Emirates today, which was enough to send them through from Group D. The result sees the Proteas join England, the West Indies and co-host India in the knockouts. At the same time, Steve Smith has been added to Australia's T20 World Cup squad. That's ahead of this afternoon's game against Sri Lanka. Smith replaces captain Mitchell Marsh, who was hit in the groin area last week and suffered testicular bleeding. Over to football, where Mamelodi Sundowns are the only remaining South African team involved in CAF competitions. This is after their success over MC Alger in the Champions League. The Brazilians have qualified for the quarterfinals for the 8th successive season, while the draw for the knockouts will take place tomorrow. For Miguel Cardoso, he admits he won't be stressing himself about their opponents as they switch their attention to domestic matters.
There's no life on football so ahead. It's day by day. That's how you need to live. Because look, life brings us so many surprises. So many. That if we start living in 3 weeks, in 1 month, you're going to focus on what is not important. Maximum focus on Wednesday. Very important match, a very beautiful match to prepare. Fantastic match to live, and for sure a fantastic show in terms of what is football for South Africa. That's what we are going to worry about.
And the Springbok Women's Sevens kept their hopes of qualifying for the World Championship alive, having secured a second-place finish in a 7-2 tournament in Nairobi. Head coach Cecil Africa was full of praise for his side, despite their slow start to the campaign.
I think we didn't really start off the tournament the way we wished, even though we won our first game. But just in terms of like our standard, how we wanted to execute, we started slow. And then obviously in the Brazilian game as well, it was a bit better, but we couldn't convert opportunities. We went obviously better from game 1 to game 5.
Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
16 minutes now to 4 o'clock. Karabo Charlie, Santon's a problem, eh?
Yeah, slow-moving traffic. That's leaving the area heading towards the M1 on Grayston Drive between Santon Drive and Catherine Street. While in Melrose, there's also slow-moving traffic. This is heading towards the Joburg CBD between Ethel Oaklands and Killarney Bends on the M1 South. In Sunninghill, expect some delays on Witkoppen Road between Rivonia Road and Maxwell, and in Fourways traffic remains a bit sluggish. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. You're now listening to 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
4:45, the question we're asking, Tola Mganga, cheating in games and sport. We're not talking about it. Professional, high-level elite. There are structures to take care of that. But where relationships and friendships are involved, so it may be people they may not be close friends at your tennis or golf club, or friends that you gather with to play what should be just a simple fun game of a round of a board game, but actually becomes quite irritating because one person is taking it so seriously that they actually cheat. So these are the kind of things that arise in people's lives. Do they arise in yours?
I'm very strict when it comes to game playing. Mainly because I realize I'm very competitive, but I'm a silent competitive person. I'm not the kind of person that will slam down everything and let's play now. Once I'm in the zone, and I like to win. So when people start cheating, it also takes the fun out of it because you also just want to test everybody's level of how competitive they are, how much knowledge they have. Once we have to start adding 3 just because you want to win ahead of everybody else, it does make sense.
So give me an example. I mean, is it that, and would you, for example, say, hey, what are you doing? You didn't throw a 6, you threw a 2.
I would tell that person we have to roll again because we didn't see the dice. The one thing, for example, with 30 seconds, when you have to do the timer and then people bang on the table so the sand goes down quicker, very strict on that. We have one person that will look after the timer and they have to make sure that no one is doing anything like shaking the table. It's small little things that you have to call people out for because ultimately the next time we meet again, no one is going to want to play these games because we know that, hey, John is not a fair player.
And tell me, just a last one. So does everybody know that games evening either at or with Tola Kele, there's no mucking about? Or do you have to keep repeating yourself?
No, the only other person who's stricter than me is Fiso Zulu.
Okay.
When Fiso realizes that his team is a little slow, he doesn't even participate anymore. So he's one of those people that he won't even call out cheating. He's just like, I give up. You guys can do whatever you want. But me, I will constantly remind people that at the end of the day, we still have to get along after this game is played.
Wow. Okay. No on the table to make the timer go quicker in 30 seconds or any other game where the sands of time are a factor. Stories of cheating in games. Anybody may have looked online and saw cheating and thought this involves intimate relationships. Nope. We're talking about cheating in games. And let me throw out this thread, by the way. How do you deal with this with kids? Because in a way, there's a little bit of colluding. I found, certainly playing games with grandchildren and well before that with nieces, is you kind of want them to win. So there's a sort of thing that you do. But then at a certain point, I know in all of those relationships, I would have said, hang on. No. That's not the way that we're going to play this game. Interesting. Call me, please, on 072 702 1702. 12 minutes to 4.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Right, let's get into this. Now, convoys of politicians often moving very fast and with a high level of assertiveness. Let me just put it neutrally like that for now. Certainly assertiveness based on what appears to be a belief that we all need to move over so they can go where they are going and get there more quickly. Now, I'm interested to know, and I'll tell you why it's in the news today in a moment. I'm interested to know, is that what the rules say, that we actually all do have to move over and that these vehicles can drive pretty much as fast as they like, or the rules a lot more precise? This has come in the news because of conversations in the media about the motorcade that is used to get Deputy President Paul Mashatile around, and there is footage showing them coming down the wrong way in a one-way section and motorists having to move aside during peak hour congestion. So I assume all of this is framed by law. Let's find out what the laws say. Advocate Stefanie Fick is with the organization Outer, which you know well, and the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, where she is Executive Director responsible for accountability. Ms. Fick, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time today on 702. Is there a set of laws, regulations that actually frame how convoys and motorcades with blue lights conveying politicians are allowed to go about their things, or are we in a grey area there? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. The rules that apply to motorists apply to any blue light brigade, anybody that's driving around, a very important person. So there's no different set of rules for different types of people. If you are a motorist, you need to abide by the rules of the road, which is you need to drive on the right side of the road. There's certain speed limits. You need to abide by the law. Doesn't matter who you are.
So in the light of that, I mean, if I see a convoy, let's say I'm driving between Tshwane and Polokwane, there's an open road, there's plenty of space. If I see a convoy of blue lights coming behind me, maybe I'm in the middle lane because I'm busy trying to pass a truck or whatever reason I have for being in the middle lane, maybe I'm not even concentrating properly, which is a different kind of problem. But if they're coming towards me at 160, they're breaking the law right there.
Yes, because you're not supposed to drive 160. Let's just, for argument's sake, we all understand that there are certain circumstances where you will go to a court of law saying, I drove 160 for this reason, and for this reason, the court must excuse you. We can all understand that that's under very limited circumstances. I mean, while I'm talking to you, I can't even think of one. Let's say you have a sick child in your way, but you are still expected to, despite the fact that you have an emergency, to drive, carefully, and you need to take into consideration other people driving on the road. So driving 160 kilometers because you have a very important person in the back seat of your car is no excuse, and you are breaking the law.
Why have we got so used to this that we mumble about it, grumble about it, complain about it, go on social media about it, but nobody has ever gone to court and say, listen, this is what I've witnessed, this is what I've seen, and this is the kind of pressure and stress it put me under?
It's actually a very good question. Why don't we, go lay a charge? For example, the video footage I saw was also driving on the wrong side. Let's assume, and it's sometimes dangerous, but let's assume we saw the same footage. Why aren't people giving those number plates over to the police so they investigate? And I think the only reason I can think of is that people think that nothing will happen. And unfortunately, I think I have to agree with a lot of people that even if you complain, nothing is probably going to happen because, there's no political will to fix it. In my view, people should be fired. If you can't drive appropriately, you put other people's lives in danger, and people have got direct imprisonment for causing an accident, for driving far less dangerous and reckless. So, what is the problem with South Africans? I think we've gotten used to some level of lawlessness, and all I can say in this afternoon is maybe it takes one or two people to be brave, and then, people will follow. And maybe that is what we need, a little bit of bravery. Whether something will happen or not, it is about we do not accept that type of behavior.
I think there may be another, and there's probably more than one reason, Advocate Fick, why people think that there's no reason to complain. The one is what you've just said. They don't think anything will happen. But I think perhaps an even more troubling is that many people think it's allowed, that we have a society that has framed a set of rules that allow different behavior for people at a different level. But I want to go into this intricacy of the law with you, and I'm not sure if you have a clear view on it, but let me ask anyway. If I have a driver, and I'm not driving, but, I've got a driver for whatever reason. I like to get work done in the back, security. There can be a range of reasons. Am I responsible for the way that driver drives? In other words, should a matter like this come to court? Let's leave aside politicians and any emotion associated with that. But it comes to court, and I'm John Perlman, a billionaire tycoon. Can the judge say, actually, it's not your driver. It's up to you to make sure that the vehicle that you own and the driving arrangements are set up by you in a contract, that you are responsible for the way they drive?
I'm going to answer it this way, and this is my view. There might be different interpretation, but this is my view. In terms of criminal law, you need to act. So it will always be the driver, because the driver is solely responsible for his or her actions. So the state will either have to prove that you drove intentionally. Then, in other words, let's say, for example, you're responsible for someone's, you took someone's life. Whether you will be able to prove murder, whether whether it's only culpable homicide, which is negligence. In civil law, I think there might be room. So if you want to, for example, claim damages, the family wants to claim damages or whatever, and let's forget for a minute that then you're probably under the heading of RAF, and there's a different set of rules. Just us discussing the law and the principle is that there might be in civil law, there's room to say, but as the owner of the vehicle, not necessarily the driver, but you are responsible for the driver, and someone can, for example, prove that your driver has always been irresponsible, and that this was, a number of times where this driver was irresponsible, that there may be a case, you can make out a case. Whether the state will be as brave to sit and think, but is it time that, in law and in criminal law, we need to hold the owner responsible? That's an interesting question, and maybe it will be an interesting discussion to have with people in criminal law, and whether the state is brave enough. But I think surely in civil law there is room to say that someone might be held responsible for damages.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting one, because if it ever came to court, the driver may say, "Hey, listen, I was told if I don't get this person from A to B, even though it's not physically possible, other than driving at 180 kilometers an hour, I'll lose my job." So any kind of scrutiny of these things, I'm sure, will reveal a whole lot of very interesting things. Just finally, I mean, what would be so difficult for authorities to simply say that blue lights can be used to ask people to move out of the way because somebody's in a rush, but they can never, ever be used as an excuse for the breaking of regulations, be they which side of the road you drive on or the speed that you drive at?
You cannot use the blue light brigade because you are late for an appointment, or you need to be somewhere.
Yes.
You are supposed to drive within the speed limit, and if you don't want to, don't create a situation where you are the creator thereof. get up sooner. For example, what I understood, the video I saw, and let's for argument's sake accept that, yes, they are driving there because the road is full. I mean, get up before traffic. There is no excuse for you to contravene legislation or regulation because you think you need to get the person somewhere before a certain period of time. You will not succeed. That is not a defense, definitely not a defense in criminal law.
Thanks so much. Advocate Stefanie Fook is with the organisation OUTA. She's Executive Director responsible for accountability. Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 2 minutes to 4.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Do you have any idea why this may have happened?
We have no idea because Nick is such a lovable young 22-year-old. So we just want to see it as a case, a prime situation. And the family also would want to push the whole issue of being a Nigeria versus South Africa issue aside. We don't want people to jump on this and make it a Nigeria against South Africa thing. He was targeted because he was Nigerian. He was targeted because he's not South African. We don't believe that.
Solomon Izang Ashom's family spokesperson.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries. World-class team of 1,111 with one mission. Awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Zandi Finga's Hive promo agency was growing fast, but the paperwork was catching up. What were you up against?
Challenges that were slowing down my growth was finding clients as well as organizing the promoter application.
But with Yep for online visibility and Zoho to manage her database, she has turned chaos into a well-honeyed hive.
Get Yep by Telkom Business from 249 Rand per month and Zoho from only 1,260 Rand annually. Call 10213 or click telkom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Aren't you tired of hearing how tough every bucky is? Tough this, tougher that, and being tougherer. But what about a bucky that's actually evolved? Confidence when you need it. Modern comfort because you deserve it. And next-gen tech that's, well, just smarter. Introducing the Changan Hunter range from only 5,299 Rand per month. Test drive SA's Better Balance Bucky today. T's and C's apply.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
Driving the conversation on 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Powered by Telkom Business. Possible begins here. This is EWN.
Ekurhuleni ramps up efforts to vet its EMPD employees, and Olomisa defends army deployment decision. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The city of Ekurhuleni has brought in a private company to vet its Metro Police officer amid serious corruption allegations. The EMPD has been at the top of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry's agenda, where some senior officials were linked to alleged wrongdoing. In its interim report, the Commission recommended investigations and possible prosecutions of 5 EMPD officers, including suspended Chief Julius Mkwanazi. The city has begun the vetting process at its internal audit offices in Alberton today. Alpha Ramushwana reports.
President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address focused strongly on revelations of police corruption at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. During his speech last Thursday, he announced that the state security agency has been brought in to re-vet officers across all Metro Police departments. Now that the city of Ekurhuleni has launched its own internal vetting process, this means EMPD officers will be vetted by both the SSA and the private forensic firm. City Manager Kagiso Lirutla says the move is aimed at restoring public trust in the EMPD.
We agree that there is a trust deficit, but I've indicated that there are 2 independent processes that to an extent the resident they can rely on. One is that it's done by independent forensic company. Two is that we have included the state security.
About 3,000 EMPD officers will be vetted by the private firm. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Despite President Cyril Ramaphosa giving an instruction for lifestyle audits to be conducted within the NPA 6 years ago, not one has been done. This is according to Justice and Constitutional Development Minister Mamoloko Gubai. Speaking on 702 this morning, Gubai said that she is expecting newly appointed NPA head Advocate Endi Mutibi to turn things around and prioritize lifestyle audits. Oren Singh reports.
There has been pushback from the NPA in conducting lifestyle audits on prosecutors, despite a directive being given by President Cyril Ramaphosa some 6 years ago. Justice and Constitutional Development Minister Mamoloko Kubai says the incident she's come across during her time in office suggests there's an urgent need for lifestyle audits of prosecutors within the NPA.
The only way for me as a minister to have assurance that our prosecutors are not involved in wrongdoings is for them to subject themselves to lifestyle audit. Then as a minister, I can stand proudly and say, I have a clean NPA. Currently, I have doubts.
Kubai says she's raised her concerns of lifestyle audits with NPA head Advocate Endi Mutibi and is expecting that everyone within the structure be subjected to scrutiny. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
The family of an e-hailing driver who was killed in an attack last week is desperate to have his remains repatriated to his home country of Nigeria. Together with Norby Attorneys, which represents the Nigerian Council, they're hoping to raise the money needed to send Isaac Satlat's body home. The 22-year-old was killed last week by a man and a woman who had requested the e-hailing service. His body and the car that he was driving at the time was later found in Artridgeville. Today, 3 suspects arrested in connection with the crime appeared in the Pretoria Magistrates Court where they abandoned their bail application. They are charged with premeditated murder as well as robbery with aggravating circumstances. Thandoluhle Ngcobo has more.
Speaking on the sidelines in court this morning, leader of the Nigerian Council, Nuobi Smart, reiterated that the issue of e-hailing drivers being targeted is not a matter of their nationality, but rather an issue of rampant crime. Smart says the council is trying to raise funds to help Sattler's family send his body back to his home country of Nigeria, where his mother and 2 younger siblings are.
The Nigerian ambassador to South Africa was here this morning alongside with the diplomatic corps this morning. I spoke to them. So what we are going to be doing, we are going to be raising funds, a donation. So whoever who cares to support good cause should be able to be part of this donation.
Meanwhile, police are on the hunt for a 4th suspect believed to be involved in the crime. Thandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
Deputy Minister of Defence Bantu Holomisa has defended the decision to deploy soldiers to help the police in Gauteng and the Western Cape fight gang violence and illegal mining. He says those who don't agree should come up with solutions rather than criticising that decision. Holomisa has told EWN today that he is confident the move will yield the desired results, adding that the soldiers are ready and could be out on the streets soon. Babalondenze has more.
President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to deploy the army to help in policing in the 2 provinces has received a mixed reaction. While commentators and some organizations support the idea, those opposed have warned that it's not a sustainable strategy to dismantle drug networks and to put an end to illegal mining. But Deputy Minister Bantu Holomisa says instead of criticizing the move, they should provide solutions.
So be it. We are not going to nurse the feelings of analysts who are not coming up with solutions as to how do we deal with the crime on the ground.
He says the army is ready to be deployed after conducting some groundwork.
We send our own military intelligence to scan the area and to make sure that when we deploy our troops are safe.
Holomisa says the public shouldn't worry about the soldiers' conduct because there are institutions in place that exercise oversight over defense, including Parliament. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And in Austria, an avalanche in the west of the country has resulted in the deaths of 2 snowboarders. It's understood the 2 men were reported missing after they did not return from their snowboarding trip, prompting a large-scale search operation. The pair was buried under the snow and they were located last night. A level 4 avalanche risk warning is currently in place in that area following heavy snowfall in the recent days. Gold is trading at $5,002.39 an ounce. The rand is at $15.95 to the dollar, $21.76 to the pound, $18.91 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.78 a barrel.
Alexandra, heading towards Germiston, there's slow-moving traffic. N3 southbound between the Batoon Interchange and London Road. Also, bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Poleshof area. This is on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Rivonia Road. Four-ways traffic pressure. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen.
In your sport, Morocco Swallows serve Marumo Gallants amid payment issues related to the sale of their PSL status. 30,000 tickets sold for Wednesday's title six-pointer between Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns. And the latest from the T20 World Cup showdown between Australia and Sri Lanka.
A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 11 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria 12 and 25, and Vereeniging 12 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the city of Ekurhuleni has brought in a private company to vet its Metro Police officers amid serious corruption allegations.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 4. It's good to have you with us on the show. Coming up shortly, we're going to be talking about a very interesting piece that appeared in the Rapport newspaper. Tinus Ferreira is the author of that. He's talking about how change is being made by the new holding company, the company that now controls DSTV, could have significant implications for people involved in the production of local series, telenovelas, dramas of various kinds, not only in Afrikaans, but substantially in Afrikaans, but it's going to affect other channels as well. Local content that should have been commissioned over this year. There seems to be a hold placed on that. The implications of this, I think, are pretty serious, particularly as we began the year with lots of protests from people involved in the film and television industry saying they cannot sustain themselves with the way things are being run. Tinus Ferreira joining us on that shortly. A little bit later in the show, we're going to be looking closely at a promise made by President Cyril Ramaphosa in the State of the Nation address, but suddenly very topical this week with all that mining, in inverted commas, taking place out in Springs. Again there, a call for the SANDF to get involved. What difference might the SANDF make, though? Trying to deal with gang violence in the Western Cape, on the Cape Flats, on the one hand, and the consequences, grave consequences for people who live close to areas of illegal mining in Gauteng and Northwest on the other. Policing expert Eldorado de Klerk joins us for that at about 10 minutes past 5. It's 11 minutes past 4. A lot of responses from you to all sorts of issues. The blue lights that we raised, canvassed the legal framework around that with advocate Stefanie Fick from Outer, who says there is no legal right for anybody to not obey the traffic laws, which I must say is pretty clear and pretty comprehensive. But do give us a call on 011 883 0702. Some of you have got thoughts on that. Some of you have got views on people who cheat when playing games that are meant to be fun, but often get too competitive. Let's hear your thoughts.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Hi, afternoon, John. Pat here from Spyview. That is excellent. The vetting on the officers, traffic officers. If they can start with First Lourdes, Tokoza, and Katlehong, then they go to Alberton. Those guys are rotten, most of them. It's coring all the way. Wow. Can't wait to hear the results.
Good afternoon, John. This is Titus from Tafontaine. This blue light thing, personally, I will not report it. I will not. It's not because nothing will come out of it if I report. It's not because if I litigate, nothing will come out of it. my own take is that if I get bashed up, that's where you will know that nothing will come out of it. If I end up with a broken head, lose my teeth or whatever, and I report, nothing will still come out of it. So I'd rather just keep quiet. These guys are a law to themselves. So just move out of the way. Just let them do their thing. Because if you report, if you litigate, nothing will come out of it. I will be the one that will end up with body pains and hospital bills. So I let them do what they want to do. Titus Tafanten.
Thanks for those messages. Keep them coming on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. To that CakeNet, DSTV, Mzansi Magic, Canal Plus story in a moment. But first, we'd better tell you what it's like if you're heading home.
EWN Traffic.
Very latest with Karabo Charlie Polshoff is getting a little problematic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's heavy delays on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Rivonia Road. That's in the Polshoff area. In four ways, also traffic sluggish on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen Road, while in Alex traveling towards Germiston, expect some delays. N3 south from the Between Change to London Road, and in Melrose, this is heading towards the Joburg CBD. Traffic pressure on this is on the M1 southbound between Ethel Oaklands and Killarney Bends. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
2 more people have been arrested in connection with the murder of an e-hailing driver in Pretoria. Isaac David Sutlatz was strangled to death, allegedly by passengers who had requested the e-hailing service last Wednesday. The crime was captured on his car's dashcam and has been widely circulated online. These latest arrests bring the number of suspects in custody to 3.
The 2 male suspects, who are aged 30 and 26, will join the third suspect, aged 25, who was arrested on Friday, the 13th of February.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Love is in the air, but with Outsurance, there could be some awesome car insurance savings for you too. Like 27-year-old Liam, who saves an awesome 640 Rand on his 2020 Ford Ranger. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. SMS OUT to 45142. That's OUT to 45142. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Meet Tato Makate, CMO of Koitech, proving that South African tech can take on the world. Tato, why was Telkom Business the right call for your team?
Bottom line was connectivity and ensuring that we have the right service provider.
With Telkom Business Fiber, Koitech seamlessly connects local innovations with international manufacturing.
Get Stream Connect Fiber from just 399 Rand per month. Call 10213 or click telkom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You can become a victim of a legal problem, wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
If you run a business, your vehicles aren't just vehicles. They're capital investments on 4 wheels, and capital should perform. On Friday, the 20th of February, 702 will take you inside Pro One, an exclusive Stellantis showcase spotlighting the Peugeot professional pickup range, engineered for South African businesses, from construction to agriculture to logistics. If your fleet is due for an upgrade and you mean business, tune in on Friday for live insights from the floor. Power your business with the confidence of Peugeot Professional on 702.
Stay with 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Well, I think it's fair to say that there have been a lot of changes already at DSTV. They are now owned by the French company Canal Plus. And when we talked before about this, as I recall, we're talking about channels, whether they're going to be kept or not. So very much focused on the viewer, on you, the consumer, and what you're able to watch. But a story that appeared in the Sunday newspaper, Rapport, by the TV and entertainment journalist and critic Tinus Ferreira, raises many issues that have significant implications, not just for people who watch channels like CakeNet and Mzansi Magic, but for people who are involved in the production of the content that appears on those two platforms. Not just talking about actors. Remember, we've had conversations about film before that make very, very clear that in the production process, there are many, many people and small companies who deliver services. They build sets, they provide on-set catering. The list is endless, and I don't need to go through it. So what's going on and what prompted Tinus to write? Well, here he is with us on 702. Tinus Ferreira, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. This story appears under the headline CakeNet se inhoud kan opdroog omdat Franse sloer met kontrakte. My understanding of that is CakeNet's content could dry up because the French are dragging their heels on contracts. If I've got that right, what exactly is going on? Good afternoon.
Hello there. So, yes, it says CakeNet because it's for an Afrikaans newspaper, but it's really everything. Mnet.
Yes.
So, Mnet runs the Mnet channel. Mnet runs the set of CakeNet Afrikaans channels, and then Mnet also runs the set of Mzansi Magic channels that has Zulu and Xhosa and all of those languages.
Right.
All of those things are under threat. Because as producers and people who work at MultiChoice have told me, the new European masters of South African television has taken it upon themselves to now decide what South Africa will or won't get to see on television in terms of local content on pay TV. All of the contracts have to be sent from MultiChoice to the outskirts of Paris, where Canal Plus have their head office, and they sort of like modern-day Marie Antoinette sort of decide what stays, what won't stay, and who gets to eat cake or not. The contracts are piling up there. They are either taking too long because they are dragging it out, or they simply don't want to sign the contracts, and then those things have to come back to South Africa, and then that is causing a massive delay in terms of television, which, like a cake in the oven, needs a certain time to be made and won't be ready for round about the third quarter of this year to go out on Mnet and CakeNet and Mzansi Magic. CakeNet has started dubbing an American series which will start next Sunday. Which is sort of where television starts. You start to dub and then you do local content. Now it's sort of going back because it seems there's not enough money anymore or contracts approved for the content to be churned out and to be made. Canal Plus has also taken it upon themselves to now decide what SuperSport will buy or not buy. That function has been ripped away from SuperSport in Johannesburg, and it's now Canal Plus and their chief content officer who signs off on what sports will be bought or not for SuperSport. Also, third-party content. That function has been taken away. DSTV no longer gets to decide what they want. So all of these things are bottlenecking through Paris. And yeah, it doesn't portend anything good for our local television.
So I want to go back to where we started, Tinus, and because the crucial thing for me, and obviously the other two things, third-party content and sports, we'll get to them again if we have time. But the interesting and important thing for me is that local content is an industry, not just the creative output of a small number of people. Do you think as they review these things in Paris, I would assume this is being done by accountants rather than people with any kind of cultural view on the relevance or otherwise of particular content? Is this strictly a number crunching job, costs too much, We can dub Landman, the American series, call it Landman, and we're away.
Exactly. You're exactly right. So it would be the same as, like, imagine me now deciding in South Africa what flowers to buy for a botanical garden in Namibia with no sort of background. But I'm looking at the paper, what makes rands and cents or not for my company. So I've spoken to several producers. I worked on the story for 2 weeks. Canal Plus, I wanted answers from, not from MultiChoice. They were not willing to answer anything. I asked Mnet also. They had 2 weeks to answer. They also sort of ignored all of the questions. And the producers and people that I spoke to, somebody who worked on a show said that everybody on local TV shows literally are already working paycheck to paycheck. The last time that some of them worked was in November.
Right.
Some of them had to do films for the Silverscatten Film Festival, which is a Cape Net thing in August. That won't be ready. They can't do some of those content anymore. And then Maxime Sada spoke to investors about 3 weeks ago, and he told them that Canal Plus is looking at cost cutting, and that includes cost cutting of content of 400 million euro over the next 3 years. Now,
Yes.
They're not going to take that cost really out of the Canal Plus side in France. It sort of seems logical that they're going to suddenly just decide we need to cut costs and we're going to cut it in Africa.
So, Tinus, I mean, in your 2 weeks of putting this together, plus I'm assuming a lot of the producers of South African content, whether it's in Afrikaans or isiXhosa, are people you've come to know very well. I would have thought that the mood is firstly very anxious, but people must be feeling very, very pessimistic. Is there any light at the end of the tunnel? Any silver lining on this cloud?
It's kind of like a level of Stockholm syndrome because
Yes.
they are very upset, but they also don't really want to talk out publicly about it because they're like, even though I don't have a contract or the contract has not been renewed yet, if I talk about this, it might jeopardize my chances and my future livelihoods, although you already don't have a contract. They said it's a very scary time to be working in the South African film and TV industry. They talked about how the SABC collapsed, and then MultiChoice and Mnet was sort of like the thing that you went to go and get content approved. They said that the industry is on the verge of imploding, and these are award-winning people and producers, not sort of fly-by-night people who've only been working for a year or two. They said Canal Plus can't or won't get their act together, and that everybody is sort of just now looking at Canal Plus who's like, really just throwing their weight around, who have really decimated MultiChoice, and they are saying, your ordinary viewer might not realize it, but there's going to be these holes that fall on the programming schedules of channels, the same as baking that cake and opening that oven door too early. You're not going to get the product done right or at all to be ready to be on air. And what are people going to watch on Mnet, on Cape Net, and the Mzansi Magic channels come June, July, August?
Thank you so much. We'll follow your next episode, I'm sure, with a great deal of interest. I'm sure that cake will be properly baked. Tinus Ferreira, if you read Rapport on a Sunday, you would have seen what he wrote. Otherwise, catch up with what he's written. Find it online. TV and entertainment critic, but publishing this particular piece in Rapport over the weekend. I'd be very interested to know, by the way, I mean, there's a long and very deep tradition of excellence in South African television in general, but I recall from the early days of TV here, there was constant reference to the high quality of Afrikaans series and dramas and so on. And my sense is, although I don't always watch those, of that being carried on through the decades. But I'm keen to know if, from those of our listeners who are Afrikaners and people who enjoy hearing, watching stuff in their home language, nevertheless, would you rather watch Landman in its original, or would you end up watching it, I just, frivolously call it Landman, but it is still Landman, but would you enjoy a dubbed version of it, or have you become habituated to watching English stuff in English, then enjoying stuff in your own language, depending on the excellence of the output of Afrikaans language television. And similarly with people in isiXhosa and Sepedi and South African language, other African languages. I mean, what would your view be? Do you have an appetite for dubbed stuff, or would you just watch it in its original form anyway? Let me know what you think on that. 011-883-0702 and 072-702-1702. 27 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Critters, a very good afternoon to you. Start of a new post-Sono week. Although we did agree last week that's not necessarily moving the markets, but how are we looking on this Monday?
Yeah, not terrible, John. Good afternoon to you. Let me just start off by saying that the US markets are closed. There are holidays in one or two other markets as well. So trade, generally speaking, is relatively thin. That said, the JSE All Share up 0.37%, 121,036 points. Financials are up 0.72%. Industrials up 0.5%. Resources are down 0.16%. But the story of the day, John, easily Telkom. They're up 6.18%. They reported today their group data revenue was up 9.6%, and that's responsible for 60% of their revenue. Mobile data revenue up strongly, while fiber-related data revenue up by nearly 9%. But this is what stood out for me. Mobile data subscribers are up 29%, John. I mean, that's a huge number. They say that's because of tailor value-focused plans. Now, I suspect what they're doing is that they're cutting out a little bit of their margin. We'll ask them tonight on the Money Show, because I thought that was a fantastic figure. Group EBITDA is up 8.4%. As I say, the markets agree with me. They're up 6%. Alpha Minerals are up 2.58%. The MAS Group up 2.3%. And Momentum is up 2.17% today, while Clicks is up nearly 2%. MTN are also up 2%, I must just say, in the communication space. And Pick n Pay recovering a little bit, up 1.69%. The construction firm, Stefanuti Stock, saying their current order book increasing from 13.2 billion rand to 15.3. Also got short-term potential awards of 12.5 billion rand. Tungela is down nearly 4%. Mondi is down nearly 3%. Sabania is down 2.71%. And the Foschini Group is down 1.8%. As I say, US markets are closed today. World shares slightly steady. There was a drop on Friday because of concerns related to AI. But as I said, President's Day in the US and then the Lunar New Year in Asia making a big difference to the number of shares being traded. The gold price just below 5,000 again, $4,995.83. Platinum, $2,017.74. Brent crude, $67.94. The rand to the dollar, 15.96 to the euro, 18.92 to the British pound, 21.76. Stephen Critters, EWN Business.
Okay, it's 4:30 on 702 Drive. Stephen back with us in about 54 minutes' time. Right now, Mbali Dlamini with the very latest eyewitness news, focusing first off on the SANDF, what they might do in the fight against crime. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. A very good afternoon. Deputy Defence Minister Bantu Holomisa says the South African National Defence Force should be deployed to address a broad range of criminal activities and not only limited to gangs and illegal mining. His remarks follow an announcement by the President during the State of the Nation address last week that the Army would be deployed to crime-ridden areas in Gauteng and the Western Cape to assist the police.
You have people here who are hijacking vehicles across the borders. You have people who are here illegally, who are committing crimes. You have people who are here not complying with the rules and regulations. This is a country. If you want to stay in South Africa, you must obey the rules and regulations of South and the laws of this country.
Speaking on 702 earlier today, Holomisa explained the number of soldiers deployed will be determined through a formal process from the police. He also confirmed that his ministry is ready to act pending necessary legal and procedural steps.
We are ready to deploy immediately. We get a request from the Minister of Police and a letter from the Portfolio Committee in Parliament to say we can go ahead. We are ready. We will utilize the current budget allocation we have. because it's our responsibility to make sure that South Africa is safe. Then, if there is a shortage, the National Treasury will get a report.
The Cape Peninsula University of Technology has dismissed last week's student protest outside the State of the Nation address venue as nothing more than a stunt for attention. Hundreds of students gathered outside Cape Town City Hall hoping to catch the attention of the president. They say there's an ongoing accommodation crisis at that institution. Students also complained about poor living conditions and claimed that some of them were evicted by CPUT from a private residence. Ekurhuleni has more.
The Cape Peninsula University of Technology has rejected these claims, saying the protests misrepresented the facts. CPUT spokesperson Lauren Kansley says only a handful of the protesting students were without beds and those students were assisted. She adds that the main issue is students who arrive late without approved accommodation and still expect to be placed. Kansley maintains that the university has processes in place to allocate residence space to funded students and those doing well academically.
So there is a new rule within this FUS where they expect you to be passing 60% of your subject load. Sometimes that has excluded some students, and of course they are not happy about that.
The university says it remains committed to engaging students through formal channels and support qualifying students. Ekurhuleni, Eyewitness News.
And the death toll following a cyclone in Madagascar has risen to 59. This is the latest in a string of tropical storms to batter the southern African island in the recent months. Cyclone Gazani, which made landfall last week, has damaged at least 25,000 homes and flooded more than 200 classrooms. Government has declared a national emergency due to the cyclone. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 24 and 26 degrees.
Melrose, traffic pressure on the M1 southbound between Ethel Oaklands and Killarney Bends, while in Alex you can expect about a 30-minute delay on the N3 southbound from the Betlehem change to Van Buren, and in Polshof also about a 30-minute delay on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Rivonia Road.
A top story in EWN. Deputy Defence Minister Bantu Holomisa says the South African National Defence Force should be deployed to address a broad range of criminal activities and not only limited to gangs and illegal mining.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
The Minister of Water and Sanitation, Phemi Majodina, was in Addis Ababa. She was part of a water breakfast event held on the sidelines of the African Union Summit over the past weekend. She went and did the clouds are gathering again. And then she goes, thunder! Double thunder! Double thunder! Thunder! This is an international water song. When we say clouds are gathering, you've got water experts, scientists, engineers. What do you make of it? This, to me, seems like a minister who is unserious. Tell me I'm wrong.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
For over a decade, Aluma Capital has had one simple mission: to help you secure the financial future you deserve. Over the past 10 years, they've empowered thousands of clients with personalized strategies, expert advice, and impressive returns of up to 13.2%. Whether it's growing wealth, securing retirement, or planning for the unexpected, Aluma Capital is there every step of the way. Visit aluma.co.za today. Aluma Capital is a licensed FSP. T's and C's apply.
Let's be honest, Africa could be doing way better, but complaining won't change anything. Getting involved will. If you care about Africa's future and want to be part of something that disrupts the status quo, then this is for you. Download the Our Platform app, which focuses on problem solving, global competitiveness, and self-love. Africa is changing the narrative. Don't get left behind. Download Our Platform. Say hello to the new look Africa.
The decision to switch to outsurers. Not only was it quick and easy, but gave us more favorable premiums and more cover.
Outsurance Business Insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get an out bonus of up to 10% of your paid premiums back for restaurants, pharmacies, and all other businesses? Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Pedal Power Association proudly supports the Cape Town Cycle Tour, and it's more than just a ride, as every entry helps change a life. Proceeds from the race are donated to communities in need, opening doors to education, work and independence. And for every 20 cyclists who enter from Jozi, one bicycle is donated to a community in need. So when you pedal, you're not just riding for yourself, you're helping communities move forward. Go to CapetownCycletour.com, proudly supported by Prime Media Cares.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon. It is indicated that the EMPD officers will be vetted. Can we please get an explanation of what exactly is vetted? I know what it means in a general sense, like a thorough check, but who will do what in this case? Lie detectors, for past bribery allegations, corruption. Please give an understanding of what they are saying vetted is.
Good afternoon, John. Thank you for having me. I must respectfully disagree with the advocate's position regarding the use of the road and the right of way for police and VIP protection officers. I'm particularly concerned about the assertion that police have no legal basis for exercising such right. While I'm no legal expert, there is the principle of common law, John, as well as established practices that guides this situation. What is problematic, however, is the abuse of this privilege by certain private security officials, where traffic is unnecessarily halted simply to clear the way for VIP to proceed. This misuse, rather than the principle itself, it's what is problematic for me.
Afternoon, John. Hey, I miss Rabubi. Rabubi was a Venek version of Spider-Man. Yes, those were good days. Yeah, I would enjoy a dubbed version of anything, because simply it preserves the language. We're starting to lose language towards our young ones now. So yeah, so I would really love or even subscribe for things that will dub just to preserve the language.
Yeah, even the theme tune, Rabobi, Spider-Man, dubbed. So if you're wondering why we're playing that or even talking about this, you may have missed us earlier talking to Tinus Ferreira, who had a piece in the Rapport on Sunday, talking about changes being made, as he sees it, at Canal Plus, and they are not signing off, he's saying, on a whole heap of contracts for local South African content that would find its way either onto Mzansi Magic or onto CakeNet. And I was asking people how they feel about this. Would you be happy with dubbed versions? Because viewers of CakeNet are going to be getting Landman. Who's that? Billy, whatever. American actor. Can picture, my mind's just gone blank. That series now dubbed into Afrikaans. George says, from Cape Town, I legally still subscribe to DSTV, predominantly for sports. But if they touch me on my Said Ooster, there will be blood. So, die mense van Reiterbosch, what's in the future for them? According to Tinus Ferreira, he says, none of the contracts with that influence, I'm translating as I go, se groot sepies, the big soapies, and he says this includes Binnenlanders and Suidooster verleng moet word is glo al onderteken nie. So he's saying the contracts for some of the big ones, Suidooster and Benelanda's viewers of CakeNet will know the status of those have actually yet been signed off on. So, George, I hope they don't touch you on your Saint Oyster, but I would say from what Tina says, maybe you need to brace yourself for exactly that. 18 minutes now to 5.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly Mganga, very good afternoon to you. An update on the sports, please.
Thanks so much, John. And Marumo Gallants have confirmed they've been taken to court by Morocco Swallows regarding the sale of the latter's PSL status. Swallows sold its status to Gallants ahead of the 2024-25 season, and its owners ran into financial difficulties in trying to revive the club, opting to put it up for sale. Gallants, who were then campaigning in the Motsepe Foundation Championship, bought the Dube Bird status and moved up to the Elite League. However, media reports suggest that Swallows have now cancelled that sale of their status and are seeking a court order to enforce the termination. On the pitch, log leaders Orlando Pirates are gearing up for their top-of-the-table showdown against Mamelodi Sundowns on Wednesday. Ahead of it, stadium management says only 30,000 tickets have been sold for the clash will be played at the FNB Stadium. For Adeslamo Adu, he's told his Buccaneers players they need to be more ruthless in front of goal. That's despite a 3-0 win over Gallants in the Betway Premiership on Saturday.
I urge my players to be more ambitious and to be more efficient in the last third and to have more control in the middle, because football is played most of the time. The heart of the game is in the middle, and if we don't have the control of the middle, it can be difficult.
Mikel Arteta fears that Arsenal's growing injury list could damage their bid to win the quadruple. They booked their place in the FA Cup fifth round with a 4-0 win over Wigan, but it came at a cost, with Ricardo Calafiori and Ben White both suffering injuries. They now join captain Martin Odegaard, Kai Havertz and Mikel Merino in the treatment room.
Yes, and especially because we are going through. Before it was the strikers, then it was the defenders, now it's the midfielders. But we are still coping with that. But yeah, we need some players back and fit, and to give us as well not only numbers, but different options in relation to the opponents that we have. So the quicker they are, the better.
In the Six Nations, Scotland bounced back from an opening round defeat to claim a 31-20 victory over England. That loss handed Steve Borthwick's side a first loss in 13 games, and sees Sion Tupolotu and his teammates improve on their dominant recent record in Calcutta Cup games, having now won 6 of the past 9.
To be honest, we kind of took a little bit from their journey as well, because they had lost the opening game of the Six Nations last year and are on their run of themselves. And I had never lost belief in the group and because I had seen how we trained 2 weeks prior to the Italy game, and something felt a little bit different for me. But like I said, for us to pick ourselves up again after Italy and then deliver the performance we did, I'm just super proud of the coaching staff and the group.
And over to the T20 World Cup, where Australia are currently batting in their Group B game against Sri Lanka. The latest from the Baggy Greens innings sees them 151 for the loss of 4 in the 16th over. At the crease is Maxwell on 18 alongside Inglis on 10. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 4:45, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Cars.coza. Let's find what moves you. Not much, it would seem, if you're out in Polshof, Karabochali.
Yeah, you can expect about a 20-minute delay there. This is on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Rivonia Road. That's in the Polshof area. 4 ways, also about a 30-minute delay. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen due to an earlier accident. Bryanston, traffic remains heavily backed up heading towards 4 ways. This is N1 southbound from the Butlu interchange to Winnie Mandela Drive. Melrose, traffic pressure on the M1 southbound between Ethel Oaklands and Killarney Bends in Alexandra. There's about a 30-minute delay heading towards Germiston N3 southbound from the Butlu interchange all the way to Van Buren. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It's Carl de Koza here in another Carl de Koza production starring Carl de Koza and Cars.Koza. In this country, we don't just drive cars, we love cars. So slide into our DMs on WhatsApp and let's find what moves you.
Cars.Koza. 702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
There's a WhatsApp message from Chad who says, my dad expects me to marry a textbook one day. He seldom asks about how I am, only wants to know how my studies are. This studies sounds like she's from a good family, is what Chad has to say. How would you respond to that?
My heart really goes out to parents because it's not an easy task. But we're so hyper-focused on one element of a child's development being their scholastic or academic that we're not nurturing their social skills and their interpersonal relationship skills. And this is a challenge because it sets them up for failure in those areas later in life.
Counseling psychologist Yogini Hakari.
702 afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries. World-class team of 1,111 with one mission, awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't can you afford to enroll, it's can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Naked people always get dessert. Because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums, they've got more money for Mulva pudding. Or cheesecake. Or both. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start treating yourself like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Andile here with more than just a horse betting ad. Bet on the horses at 10bet and ride with a 20% free bet boost on your deposit. It's more than just a race. It's a 10bet experience. Join now at 10bet.co.za. 10bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line is 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
When the brightest brains collide in the biggest general knowledge quiz in Gauteng, it's time for the Brain of 702.
Yes, it is indeed. It's time to put your brilliance on display in the Brain of 702. Prove your mental might for your chance to win a share of 130,000 Rand in cash. And of course, there's the highly coveted title of the Brain of 702 on the line. You could win 1,500 Rand in this round and another 1,500 if you win tomorrow on Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. The Brain of 702, your brain, our stage. Are you ready to step into the spotlight? The winner of this round gets 1,500 Rand and will be crowned the Brain of the Day. They'll go on to play again tomorrow and possibly through the rest of the week, where on Friday afternoon they could find themselves in line to win 10,000 Rand as the weekly Brain of 702. Ultimately, that person could go on to win a further 30,000 Rand should they be declared the Brain of 702. Now, to be a part of the action, register on primemediaplus.com and we could call to put you through our qualifier. Right, let's meet our contestants. First of all, on the line from Pretoria, Mxolisi Mkhonza, played this morning, won the round on Bongani's show with 8 points, and he's back. Mxolisi, welcome back and the very best of luck to you.
Thank you very much for having me back, Mr. John Perlman.
It is a North versus South competition because you're up against Fred Skeppers, who is on the line to us from Mondio in the southern part of Joburg. Fred, welcome, playing first time, and the very best of luck to you as well.
Thank you.
Right, let me just remind you both of the rules. You have 60 seconds to answer 15 questions. Whoever gets the most answers correct is the winner. If scores are equal, we will play sudden death. Please give me your answers nice and promptly. And remember, if I ask you to spell a word, it's always a good idea to spell it. You don't save any time because if you say pass, I will spell it anyway. And there's an opportunity gone and time wasted when you could have picked up a point. So I think the rules are clear. That means we can get going. And Mxolisi Mkhonza, your time starts now.
3, 2, 1.
True or false? Nelson Mandela won the Nobel Peace Prize.
True.
Correct. Spell the word failure.
Failure.
Correct. In which province is the town Empangeni?
It's in KZN.
Correct. Complete the saying. He's drawn to it like a what to a flame?
Like a moth to a flame.
Correct. Elton John's Candle in the Wind was written in honor of which blonde actress?
Princess Diana.
Marilyn Monroe. What kind of animal is a thoroughbred?
It's a horse.
Correct. This shopping acronym BOGO, BOGO, stands for buy one, get what?
Get one.
True or
Buy
false?
one, get one.
Okay. True or false? The constellation Big Dipper is also known as the Plough.
True.
Correct. In what board game can your king castle with a rook?
Chess.
Correct. Which very large American state shares no borders with another state?
Texas.
No, the correct answer there was Alaska. I think you just made it on time. But even if you'd made it on time, you wouldn't have got the answer right. So well done, Nkolisi. You seem to like the number 8 because you've scored 8 yet again. So it was good enough to get you through this morning. Is it good enough to get you through this afternoon's round? We're about to find out because Fred Skippers, your time starts now.
3, 2, 1.
True or false? Thabo Mbeki won the Nobel Peace Prize.
False.
Correct. Spell the word success.
SUCCESS.
Correct. In which province is the town Beaufort West?
Eastern Cape.
Western Cape. Complete the saying, he's fiddling while what burns?
He's fiddling while Rome burns.
Correct. Elton John's Goodbye England's Rose was written in honor of which British princess?
And that was Princess Diana.
Correct. What kind of animal is a Shar-Pei?
That's a dog.
Correct. The shopping acronym BOPIS stands for Buy Online, Pick Up in what?
Sorry, say it again. Buy online. So BOPIS.
Yeah, BOPIS. Buy Online, Pick Up in what?
Seconds.
Store. True or false? The star cluster Pleiades is also called the Seven Queens.
False.
Correct. In what board game can round pieces do it? Okay, no time to give you your 9th question. You answered 8. And Fred Skippers, you managed to get 6 right. Put up a good show, but congratulations to Mkolisi Mkonza. You are our reigning brain and the brain of the day. And you've won 1,500 Rand thanks to 702. You will play again with Bongani Bingwa tomorrow. If you're still standing after that round, you will be the brain of the day and continue the battle for brilliance. And we'll see you again on Afternoon Drive. Now, for a chance to prove your mental might and to win your share of 130,000 Rand, visit primemediaplus.com to register. You could become the brain of 702 and walk away with the ultimate general knowledge prize. 702 Drive. It's 5 minutes now to 5.
You're now listening to 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Quick thanks to Angie, who clarified for me as I had a brain fade that the starring actor in the series Landman is Billy. I said, Billy, and then she said, Billy Bob Thornton? Yes, indeed. Thanks for that. Now, let's turn to this. The vetting of EMPD officers is something that has been announced by the Ekurhuleni Metro. We understand from our earlier conversation with our colleague Alpha Ramoshwana, who's followed the story closely, that unions have some concerns. We said we'd try and find out what those are. And we're joined by Chris Mavunda, who is the regional chairperson for the South African Municipal Workers Union. Mr. Mavunda, welcome and thanks very much for your time. We understand SAMWU is unhappy with this decision. If that is correct, please do tell us why. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John, and to the listeners of 702. Yes, you are correct. We are dissatisfied with the position that subjects our members to a process of vetting for the following reasons. One, in terms of our talent acquisition policy, the employer is allowed to vet employees who are recommended for employment. There is nothing other than that gives legal authority to the employer to start vetting employees. But number two, Mr. Perlman, you remember sometime in March 2025, our members embarked on a march where they raised their grievances. To date, we can tell you that such grievances have not been responded to. Instead, the employer is responding by subjecting our members to an unlawful press process, which we view as victimization and undermining our members' rights, because there is no law that says you can vet employees after they've been appointed. And why selectively these members of EMPD who have raised their grievances with the employer? Why only them?
But you're saying that the only people who are going to be vetted are the people who took action on, did you say February 2025 and expressed their grievances? How do you know that only they are going to be vetted?
No, my apologies. You did not capture me correct. I'm saying our members raised their grievances in March.
Yes.
Instead of the employer responding to their grievances, they respond with this process of vetting them, which we view as a victimization and instilling fear on our members not to raise grievances in the future, because should you raise grievances, then you'll be subjected to these processes. And I can tell you again, Mr. Perlman, the process of verification, especially when there are ghost employees that you are suspicious of,
yes,
it's allowed, but there are processes that you must embark on, and you cannot only target only one department that raised its grievances. What about all other departments?
But Mr. Mavunda, the process of vetting EMPD employees, as I understand it, they did it in 2022, so I'm not sure if you raised an objection then. But secondly, for you to characterize this as a direct response to the industry or the protest action in 2025 simply doesn't, in my view, square with the facts. This is a response to what has emerged about the low level of integrity in the EMPD as a result of the inquiries in the Madlanga Commission.
Yeah, look, Mr. Perlman. In 2022, the vetting that you're referring to,
yes,
all city employees were subjected to that process.
Right.
All of them. So, look, the Madlanga Commission, we respect the Madlanga processes, but the Madlanga Commission is still ongoing. The Madlanga has issued preliminary recommendations only to the president. So where is the recommendation that says EMPD officials must be subjected?
But where's the requirement that this kind of action depends on the Madlanga Commission? I mean, the EMPD has rightly or wrongly drawn a conclusion that there needs to be greater scrutiny to safeguard what remains of the EMPD's integrity. What have your members got to hide?
I don't know what happened, John.
Yes, I don't know if you heard my question.
I beg your pardon?
No. Did you hear my question?
No. I didn't capture it. Something happened.
I'm just trying to understand what your fundamental objection is. I think that saying that this is victimization against people who protested last year is something of a pretext which suggests to an outsider that maybe your members have something to hide.
No, to be honest with you, members have got nothing to hide. You see, what would have been the right process?
Mm-hmm.
It's for the employer, because there are two recognized trade unions, SAMU and EMATU.
Right.
The employer should have, approached the two unions and say, this is what we are intending to do, this is its purpose, because the questions now, or the fear that our members are occupied with, one is, what if that one member is found to have a criminal record? What's going to happen? What is the next process thereafter? Are you going to summarily terminate this employee?
No, you simply follow the law.
There's no clear process, so you simply follow the law. Correct. Also on this issue, you simply follow the law. You take your stakeholders into confidence. Why do you want to take this matter, announce it through the media, whereas you've got your stakeholders, your unions that you work with, especially when it comes to issues that relate to workers?
Thanks very much, Chris Mavunda, SAMWU Regional Chairperson. Your thoughts on that? Give us a ring on 072 702 1702. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Two top Ekurhuleni officials placed on full suspension and mixed reactions from Eldorado Park residents over army deployment. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The city of Ekurhuleni has placed its head of legal services, Kemi Bahari, and head of human resources, Linda Tlashega, on full suspension. Both officials have been implicated at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry for allegedly protecting EMPD Chief Julius Mkhwanazi from disciplinary action. It's alleged that Bahari and Tlashega attempted to suppress an IPID report which found Mkhwanazi guilty of entering the EMPD into fraudulent contracts with Vusumuzi Matlala. The pair had been on precautionary suspension since late last year, which has now been upgraded to a full suspension. Alpha Ramushwana reports.
Now that the suspensions of City of Ekurhuleni's head of HR, Linda Tlashega, and Legal Services head, Kemi Bahari, have been moved from precautionary to punitive, they'll no longer be allowed to access the city's offices. Their company-issued devices will also be confiscated pending the conclusion of the city's internal probe. However, even on full suspension, municipal employees continue to receive their full salary and standard benefits. The city of Ekurhuleni says their internal probes and disciplinary hearings will now proceed. Bahari and Tlashega recently testified at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry about their alleged role in protecting suspended EMPD top cop Julius Mkhwanazi. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
The EFF says it will write to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Togo Didiza, for ANC MP Malusi Gigaba to be removed as co-chairperson of Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Defence. The party's Carl Niehaus says while Gigaba is facing corruption charges, it's inappropriate that he remains in that position. The pair were engaged in a war of words in a committee meeting on Friday over this matter, with Gigaba arguing that Niehaus's complaint has nothing to do with him. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
After Malusi Gigaba was added to a Transnet corruption case last November, he announced he would withdraw from political activity in the ANC as part of its step-aside policy. However, he did not relinquish his role as a Parliament Committee chairperson. EFF MP Carl Niehaus says Gigaba's alleged former relations with the Gupta brothers makes him too compromised to conduct proper oversight over the Defence Force.
This is a fundamental conflict, Chair. It is untenable.
But Gigaba hit back at Niehaus, saying he was merely seated next to the co-chairperson, Peruwani Pala, and not managing the meeting.
If the EFF had any decency whatsoever, you would have raised these issues with the presiding officers so that they are addressed there.
Gigaba is due back in court again later this week. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Residents of Eldorado Park in Johannesburg say long-term solutions are urgently needed to tackle gang violence in the community. This follows the announcement by the President that the South African National Defence Force will be deployed to crime-ridden areas in Gauteng and the Western Cape. This resident has told EWN that police are currently overwhelmed and cannot tackle gang violence in Eldos.
I think it would do a difference. I think it would. But the army will not be here permanently. They will be situated here for a temporary situation just so things can cool down. But immediately when they leave, things will just continue. We need more policemen. We need more people on, because we don't even see vans roaming the streets.
While some residents have welcomed the deployment of the army, hoping it will help restore order, others have raised concerns about whether soldiers are adequately equipped to manage civilian law enforcement situations.
The way they deal with people, they're not trained to deal with people. They train for over the border, for army purposes, you understand. We're civilians, they won't understand us. Look what happened during the COVID period. They came into people's yards, they killed people. I don't think it's a good thing.
As the country battles a widespread foot and mouth disease outbreak, red meat exports have shown a decline of 26% between June and December. The Red Meat Industry Service says slaughters have also dropped by 5%. CEO Devald Olivier says a state of disaster declaration has been welcomed by the industry. He adds that the state must now prioritize the rapid acquisition as well as administration of vaccines.
This is an opportunity for the Ministerial Task Team, the Industry Coordination Council and the Department of Agriculture to operate at the level of alignment and accountability needed to bring this crisis under control.
And Kenya Airways is currently experiencing air traffic control operational delays at Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. This follows a workers' strike which disrupted operations at the main airport. Other local airports have been affected by the go-slow, leading to 2 and sometimes 3-hour delays between flights. The Kenya Aviation Workers Union has threatened a total shutdown of the airspace if its demands over salaries are not met by the end of today. Gold is trading at $5,002.39 an ounce. The rand is at 15.95 to the dollar, 21.76 to the pound, 18.91 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.78 a barrel.
In Fourways, there's about a 30-minute delay on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen due to an earlier accident. Also in Polshof, expect about a 30-minute delay on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Rivonia Road.
In your sport, Morocco Swallows serve Marumo Gallants amid payment issues related to the sale of their PSL status. 30,000 tickets sold for Wednesday's title 6-pointer between Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns. And the latest from the T20 World Cup showdown between Australia and Sri Lanka.
A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 11 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria 12 and 25, and Vereeniging 12 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The city of Ekurhuleni has placed its head of legal services, Kemi Bihari, and the head of human resources, Linda Klashega, on full suspension.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 5. It's great to have you with us. How's your week started? Some of you making your way home. We'll get you home as quickly and safely as we possibly can, in the best way we can, telling you what's jammed up and where things might flow a little bit more freely. Karabo Chali with us to do that in just a moment. We're going to focus quite a bit in this half hour on a key element, I think, of the State of the Nation address, and that was where President Cyril Ramaphosa said the army will be deployed, first of all, to the Cape Flats to try and deal with gang violence, but secondly to communities mainly in Gauteng, but I would assume Northwest Province may also benefit from this, where communities are being terrorized by illegal miners and the kind of violence that has accompanied the work that they go about doing, the illegal work that they go about doing. So we'll talk about that with security and policing expert Eldred de Klerk. But the other issue that's come up in relation to the criminal justice system, the announcement by the Ekurhuleni Metro that members of the EMPD, some 3,000 of them, will be subjected to vetting around issues, and we don't know the full details, and that's a gap in our coverage. But nevertheless, presumably looking at various issues like whether they have criminal records, any criminal conduct between the time they were employed and now. Quite a few of you are responding to an interview I've just done with Chris Mavunda, Regional Chairperson of the South African Municipal Workers Union. They're objecting strongly to this decision, and some of you have equally strong views on that yourselves. 072 702 1702. We'll throw in, of course, sport with Tolakele Mganga. We're going to play out with some music and have some fun to end the show. It's 11 minutes past 5.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Hi, John. Probably stating the obvious to a degree, but very much commercially driven all around in terms of the DSTV, Canal Plus, multi-choice detail. So I live in the UK, and linked to the detail there is we're paying 3 times for equivalent offering linked to sport. The Super Sports versus Sky Sport and TNT Sport equivalent with the Sky Movies, etc. So all in all, 3 times the price. I think it's all linked to that, and I think very much commercial.
Oh, John, I'm just so sad after this guy's interview. So we have criminals with criminal records as our law enforcement in Ekurhuleni. What has the union done with all the findings that are coming out of the Madlanga Commission? Are they concerned at all that there's so much corruption, or they don't care? All they want is that for everybody to be employed, even though they're breaking the law and stealing and driving corruption to levels that we have never seen before. What is this guy saying exactly? I'm just so disappointed and sad. It's just, I feel so defeated.
Yeah, thanks for those. And Lisejo, by the way, says that maybe both my view on the thing, which I expressed in my questions, and Chris Mavunda's are not entirely incompatible. Here's Lisejo. The timing in the security checks is flawed. You and I can agree that they should have been completed when the process was started and not now. I think that the union's position and yours can both hold the same truth without necessarily being contradictory. The one side is saying, we made the allegations, raised our issues, and the city's response is to do security checks on our members. I'm suggesting that is fallacious, that's not why the security checks are being done at all. Your position states, what if your member is a criminal? Well, the truth is that maybe so, but can I assume when someone gives me the same job as an EMPD officer, they've said they know my history and have agreed to help me with my reintegration into society? Think of the EMPD as assuming the role of rehabilitator. I mean, it can be argued both ways, but Lesotho concludes with where he started. The timing of this thing has bad optics right around this table. Lots to talk about there. Please keep your thoughts coming.
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chale, over to you once again.
Well, in 4 ways, John, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen. It looks like traffic lights are not working there at Leslie. If you have any further info or if you can confirm this, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702 in Polshof. Also expect about a 30-minute delay. This is on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Rivonia Road. Bryanston, traffic remains heavily backed up on the N1 southbound from the Between Interchange to Winnie Mandela Drive. In Melrose, heading towards the Joburg CBD, there's traffic pressure on the M1 southbound between Ethel Oaklands and Killarney Bends. In Alexandra, also about a 30-minute delay. N3 southbound from the Between Interchange to Van Buren, while in Tembisa, slow-moving traffic. R21 northbound approaching Olifantsfontein Road. And finally, in Edenville, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis Interchange. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 5:30.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Love is in the air this month, but your child won't be feeling the love if they get detention for being late. Fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are here to ease the traffic congestion so you can get to the school on time. With the Outsurance pointsmen on the roads for the past 20 years, we can all get where we need to be quickly and safely. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using #PointsmenLove. Licensed insurer and FSP.
Driving the conversation on 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Powered by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Help me understand this. How can Rand Water not have issues with their infrastructure, but Joburg Water mentions the issue of infrastructure as one of the challenges? Because you guys also work in hand together.
Rand Water operates as a bulk supplier, but they operate at that side of the system in the value chain. And the Johannesburg Water is operating at the distribution side. We are affected by the context that affects the municipality. You remember, the shareholder of Johannesburg Water is the city of Johannesburg, because city of Johannesburg is a water service authority, while Johannesburg Water is a water service provider, but the authority lies with the city.
Kukuletu Kuma, who is the operations manager for Joburg Water.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
When your business needs strength, reliability and serious capability, look no further than the Peugeot Professional Pickup range. Built tough for South African conditions, Peugeot pickups are engineered for fleet, professionals and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From rugged load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. Whether you're building, delivering or farming, Peugeot has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Peugeot dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Peugeot Professional. Landtrek, it's pretty but tough.
Gear up for glorious Grand Slam success with Hollywood Bets. Take your tennis passion to new heights and feel every stroke, rally and match point as the drama unfolds at the Australian Open, Roland Garros, Wimbledon and US Open. The biggest stages in tennis have been set as the world's best go head-to-head for ultimate bragging rights. Bet now and make every moment count. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus My Business Assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
18 minutes past 5. Let's focus our attention now on what I think was one of the very interesting parts of the offering put forward by President Cyril Ramaphosa last Thursday in the State of the Nation address. He focused on two areas of severe and brutal social conflict in our country. On the one hand, the Cape Flats and the problem of gangs and gangsterism. On the other, in the interior of the country, in Gauteng and in the northwest as well. Zamazamas, illegal miners, not just committing the crime of taking the gold illegally, but also creating an environment of fear, violence and uncertainty for people who live in the area. The solution, bring in the SANDF. But will that work? I know it's been tried on the Cape Flats before in regard to gang violence. We thought we'd take a closer look at, first of all, the likelihood of it succeeding, but secondly, if it were to be effective, what would need to be done as well. Eldred de Klerk is a policing and security expert and has given us his time on 702 Drive. Mr. de Klerk, thanks so much for that time. I wonder if we could start on the Cape Flats. I mean, how would you see an army contribution working, and what is the history of this being tried before? Tell us about what might happen now. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to your listeners. John, you introduced it by saying that this is a response to social conflict. Mm-hmm. Social conflict, by definition, is structural, it's cultural, it's institutional, and therefore, how is this responding to those aspects? And there's legacy and historical, right? So how is this responding to the real developmental challenges that is faced by the areas besieged by criminal gangs? So this response, having been tried before on a number of occasions, and the last major deployment of the South African Defence Force was to keep us safe during COVID, and that didn't go so well. We have a paramilitary deployment at the moment in the form of the anti-gang unit. The anti-gang unit was formed due to political pressure from some political parties, thinking that equipping a well-resourced, basically armed, roving set of police officers will somehow take care of what you correctly identified as a structural issue and a structural and developmental conflict. So what is the prospects of this succeeding? John, we'll have a few more minutes to talk about that. But let me just offer that as opening remarks, and then to say, beyond the question of should we or should we not be doing this deployment, the bigger question, John, is why do we feel the need to deploy the SANDF in support of the South African police at this time?
So I suppose set the scene by calling it a social conflict, but is there not an argument to be made, Mr. de Klerk, that yes, joblessness needs to be addressed, the absence of other kinds of alternatives for young people, particularly young men who get drawn into gangs, that would be well and widely understood. But would there not be a cry from the people in communities where kids are getting killed in crossfire? I hardly need describe it for you what's going on. That we actually need to staunch the bleeding in some way, both literally and metaphorically, and that you've got to establish a baseline of law and order in order to address those other things. And one way to do that would be to bring in the army as what's been described, for example, as a force multiplier. Can we not address both?
Well, John, of course we have to. I think, though, that you categorized it correctly, and we got to understand what we're dealing with. Then we got to understand, how does this remedy speak to the things that you're doing?
Yeah.
Hence my question, why now, and what is it trying to do? And you're absolutely right. There's a desperate plea and a need for these individuals, both those affected by Zama Zama actions and those affected by criminal gangs, to feel safe, both in their person, their homes, and on the streets. They want some respite from the crippling and deadly surge of criminal gangs, yeah? So they need some release, and they think that just this moment of respite that can be afforded by SANDF working hand in glove to an operational plan, and we'll get to that in a moment, with the South African Police Services and all other entities of law enforcement and state, to wrestle back the governance of these areas, not just to stabilize them, not to just to disrupt criminal activity, but actually to start wrestling it back so that the state can begin to regulate and also can begin to develop those areas, because most of these areas suffer from chronic underdevelopment. And so your framing of this is absolutely correct. We need this moment, we need this respite. Is that enough?
Right.
And John, this is where we need to learn the lessons from the past. And that is to say, this deployment is unlikely to be unsustainable. It probably won't take beyond 30 days. It may go to by an extension to 60 or even 90 days. It will always be short term. How does this deployment begin to put in place a well-resourced, fairly well-equipped, and strengthened capability that will continue the work of public safety and security and dealing with the vulnerabilities faced by this community?
Yes.
And that range, as we said, from transport to housing to underdevelopment, to public health, to education, and not just criminals, because it's their vulnerability that makes them susceptible more so to criminal activity, because these criminals are very well versed in taking care of community needs, dispensing benign welfare, and at the same time holding those communities hostage. John, the other thing to all of this, of course, is, and your listeners will be very well aware of this, the criminals ain't stupid, right? So now they know this announcement has been made. They probably have their own little plans to respond to this in place. They will move their product. They will move their activity. They are highly mobile. They're agile. They have short decision-making windows. In fact, they don't have to play by any rules.
Yes.
And they can simply up and go and return, if they need to these areas. But they are relocating, they're legitimizing, they are ensuring that their business activity, their criminal enterprise will continue because it's networked, it's organized, and it's dispersed.
Yeah, and the point you raise about sustainability, you saying outer limit 90 days.
Well, look, I mean, the deployment usually is for 30 days, yeah? By consent of Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
It has been extended at different times by a further 30 days, and I think the longest deployment was, I think, during COVID or somewhere between 60 and 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might be wrong in that. I haven't checked my facts lately, but what I'm saying is, it won't probably go beyond that.
Yes.
So what we need is an operational plan where, for sure, we need to target certain areas. And this is the other question, John. Do we know which areas need to be targeted and why? Do we understand enough about criminal operations in that area? And will this go beyond the execution of search warrants or warrants of arrest? Yeah? So, and how are we capacitating and resourcing the capabilities of state in those areas? Are we bringing in the social welfare? Are we bringing in health and social services, for example? You know, of how are we looking at the issues that are affecting our schools and education in that area, public transport provision? All of these things have to fall in parallel while the SANDF is in place and providing this critical window that you so eloquently put in your opening, saying this space has to be given. And if the SANDF can do nothing but hold the space for these other entities to do their work, and this is where local government is critical to the equation.
Thank you so much. We'll have to leave it there, but boy, plenty of food for thought there. Eldred de Klerk, policing and security expert, joining us here on 702 Drive. We thank him for his time. 28 minutes past 5.
You're with John Perlman
on 702. EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you. How'd we close?
Yeah, not bad, John. It's a thinly traded day because Asian markets are closed for the Lunar New Year. In the US, they're closed today for President's Day. And so generally speaking, global markets slightly up, those that are trading, but much of the world sort of closed. The JSE All Share is up 0.34%, 120,989 points. Financials are up 0.9%, industrials up 0.3%, and resources down 0.33%. The story, though, is Telkom, John, up 10% today. They did put out a trading statement. We'll speak to one of their senior people on the Money Show tonight. But their group data revenue up 9.6%. I think the number people are looking at, certainly the one that caught my eye, was mobile data subscribers were up by 29%. I mean, that's a huge number. It says that's because of tailor value-focused plans. And what that suggests to me is that they've been working very hard on basically competing on price. It must be that. We'll find out. So they're up 6%, Outsurance up 2.7%, Momentum up 2.66%, and Fortress B is up 2.38% on the day. We Buy Cars also up 2%. And then Boxer and Clicks both up nearly 2%, both, of course, in the consumer space. Stefanuti Stocks, the construction firm, they say their current order book increasing from 13.2 billion rand to 15.3 billion. It's quite a big increase. They've also got short-term potential awards of 12.5 billion rand. What do we need? Infrastructure. When did we need it? 20 years ago. Maybe something's actually going to start moving there. Thungela down 5% on the day. Mondi down 3.36%. And then some of the miners are down a little bit. DLD Gold's down 3%. Sibania down 2.65%. And the Foschini Group down 1.75%. And Aspen, after a stellar week last week, they're down 1.72% on the day. As I say, world market slightly steadier. There was that drop on Friday because of concerns over AI. We'll talk more about AI and the impact on markets and what's really going on the Money Show this evening. The gold price below $5,000. That's what's hitting those gold shares slightly. At $4,979.43 an ounce. Platinum, $2,020. Brent crude, $68.09 a barrel. The rand to the dollar, $15.99. To the euro, $18.95. To the British pound, 21.80. On the Money Show tonight, John, as I say, we will, of course, speak to Telkom. Looking forward to speaking to Lunga Seal, the CEO of Telkom Consumer. Also, a confirmation today of search and seizure operations conducted by the Competition Commission in the scrap metal business. We'll talk about that tonight. And then, I don't know if you saw the story, but because of paperwork, Uber and Bolt might be sort of declared as operating illegally. Now, look, no part of me believes that's going to happen because it's just become too much a part of our society in all sorts of different ways. I mean, can you imagine what would happen to the drivers' incomes? Just for a start. But we'll look at the issue of policy around that and how all of that's going to work. And then from 7:30, we're speaking to Paul Gerard in How I Make My Money. He, for a living, runs shopping centres. And when you have, I mean, he runs a company that does that. But when you have a problem with your shopping centre, I'm thinking Four Ways Mall, and you think it's insurmountable, again, I'm thinking Four Ways Mall, he's the guy you talk to. And he's the person who, you know, his company are the people who've done quite a good job. They've just bought at Morningside as well. Apparently lighting, and then I have 3 words that are what you need to fix a shopping mall. Parking, parking, and parking. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Let's get the very latest eyewitness news now with Mbali Dlamini. What's going on? Good afternoon.
Well, John, thank you. A very good afternoon. The Special Investigating Unit has welcomed the arrests of 9 people accused of corruption worth 75 million rand in the Alfred Nzo District Municipality in the Eastern Cape. The SIU discovered a tender for trucks, water tankers and jet vacuum tankers was awarded to a company called Guane Capital without budget approval. The unit has instituted civil action in the special tribunal to review and set aside the contract to recover the losses suffered. SIU spokesperson Kaiser Khanyago.
The accused appeared before the Amatsibeni Mount Olive Magistrate Court on charges of fraud, corruption, money laundering and contravention of Municipal Finance Management Act. The yellow fleet refers to 6 trucks, 6 sprinkler water tankers and 3 jet vacuum tankers that were meant to supply water, sanitation, infrastructure support in the municipality.
A criminologist and gang expert says the deployment of the SANDF to gang-infested areas in the Western Cape will bring some relief to communities, but not in the long term. Last week, President Cyril Ramaphosa used his State of the Nation address to announce that the army will be deployed in the province to assist police in tackling gang violence. The president's announcement comes as various areas in the Western Cape continue to experience a surge in gang violence, which has left communities gripped in fear and hundreds of people dead. Carlo Peterson has more.
Crime and gang expert Professor Irvin Kinnis says Western Cape residents who are experiencing gang violence are desperate for relief.
You know, one mustn't just brush off the feelings of local people that are experiencing the gang violence.
Kinnis says gang-riddled communities will welcome the SANDF to their neighbourhoods.
But I think in the longer term, it's not going to make a significant difference. I think the presence of the Defence Force will provide hope, but it's a false hope that there's some control in the streets, because eventually the Defence Force leads.
Kinnis says the SAPS senior management needs to go through transformation for younger officers to take policing into the future and regain the community's trust. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
We shift our focus to this now. The Cape Peninsula University of Technology has defended its handling of student accommodation, saying it will continue to assist those who meet the required criteria. This comes after hundreds of students gathered peacefully outside the Cape Town City Hall on Thursday evening, calling for intervention from President Cyril Ramaphosa. Some students claim they do not have secure accommodation and have raised concerns about poor living conditions. But CPUT spokesperson Lauren Kansley says most complaints are from students who arrived late without approved housing or who are not meeting academic performance requirements. She says new National Student Financial Aid Scheme rules require students to pass at least 60% of their course load to qualify for accommodation funding.
So sometimes that has excluded some students, and of course they are not happy about that. But there is obviously an onus on students as well to be passing and to do the appropriate applications ahead of time. Why are students arriving at this stage when the academic year has started well over a week ago and still arriving? It's because they assume that the institution will help them.
Kansley adds that while some students have been allocated beds, dissatisfaction with placement does not amount to a lack of accommodation.
There's a big trend where those who have been placed in private accommodation because they either haven't done the appropriate placements or perhaps they didn't get accepted for our own internal residences, is that they will cycle back day in and day out to try and up their chances of getting into deputy-owned residences.
And the Ukraine's former energy minister has formally been named among officials implicated in a corruption scandal. German Ekurhuleni was detained yesterday while attempting to leave that country. He was accused last year of taking part in a $100 million kickback scheme from contractors who were building fortifications to defend energy infrastructure against Russian attacks. Investigators now allege they found approximately $12 million in bank accounts linked to his family. Should he be charged, he faces up to 15 years behind bars. A partly cloudy Tuesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 11 and 12 degrees and highs of between 23 and 25.
Well, in Glen Austin, Midrand expects some delays on Allendale Road between Old Pretoria Road and Mastiff. Melrose heading towards the Joburg CBD. Traffic pressure M1 southbound between Ethel Oaklands and Killarney Bends, and we still have about a 30-minute delay in the Four Ways area on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen Road.
A top story in EWN, the Special Investigating Unit has welcomed the arrest of 9 people accused of corruption worth 75 million rand in the Alfred Nzo District Municipality in the Eastern Cape.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Do you have any idea why this may have happened?
We have no idea because I think he's such a lovable young 22-year-old. So we just want to see it as a case of prime situation. And the family also would want to push the whole issue of being a Nigeria versus South Africa issue aside. We don't want people to jump on this and make it a Nigeria against South Africa thing. He was targeted because he was Nigerian. He was targeted because he's not South African. We don't believe that.
Solomon Izang Ashom's family spokesperson.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
For Olwethu Nxumalo of Ozide Rentals and Custom Dressmaking, every stage is a story. What's your Telkom business chapter?
What made Telkom business stand out from all the rest was how fast everything was.
And with voice calling and fiber from Telkom Business, she stitches together inquiries and sources fabric online without dropping a thread.
Get unlimited VoIP 1 from 99 Rand per month and Stream Connect Fiber from 399 Rand per month. Call 10213 or click telkom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Look at camouflage, Dorf. I'm going hunting. Just me, nature, and my most underrated off-roader, a rental car. Hunting? You could fit that little car in your backpack, Dorf. I sit in the driver's seat. Baggage at the back, chairs on the roof. The kudu is going to get in and strap its own seatbelt, Savvy. Could do with more legroom, Dorf. Go hunt for a new 4x4 at We Buy Cars. They got great deals. Oh, shot, Savvy.
Don't be doof, be savvy. We Buy Cars, geared for that big trip, geared for you.
Smart Steve from Momentum, hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got a license and a boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free? For all that and all?
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, with regards to the vetting of the officials of Ekurhuleni, I think it's a good thing. I mean, you cannot be a criminal and at the same time a law enforcer. It doesn't work like that. So if the vetting shows that some of them were criminally charged, then I believe that the city must just let them go. It doesn't work like that. You can only be one thing. Is either a criminal or the law enforcer. So They must just vet them.
Good afternoon, John. Just listening to your interview with Samu now about the vetting of the EMPD members in Ekurhuleni. Just tell him he must go check their contracts. The contract states they must be vetted every year. If Ekurhuleni has slipped over the past couple of years to do it, he's got no excuse to say, but the union must be involved. It's a contractual obligation. Kobus in Pretoria.
Thanks for those. It's a topic we're going to explore in more detail. And we got a call earlier where a question was asked about how exactly is the vetting going to be done? What exactly are they going to ask? That's still a gap we need to fill. If we don't do it on this show, I'm quite sure Bongani, possibly Clement or Mandy will pick up on it. Maybe Africa right at the start of the day. But one way or another, we'll get to it right here on 702 tomorrow. Unless, of course, Aubrey beats us to it tonight between 8 and 12. Either way, I'll update you on that. 702 Drive, it's 19 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Well, the Protea men have done the business on Saturday. The Protea women are looking for a series sweep against Pakistan. What are they saying ahead of the match? Here's Tola Kele.
Thanks so much, John. And South Africa will be targeting just a second series whitewash in 3 years when they clash with Pakistan in the third and final T20 tonight. The games form part of the Proteas Women's World Cup preparations, while Nadine de Klerk and her teammates will meet the same opponents in the group stages of the tournament.
It's been great atmosphere, and it's great to play in front of home fans, and it's great to see there's a lot of young girls as well, which is really exciting. I've heard a few stories of people like really starstruck with some of the girls here, and it's exciting to see. Hopefully we get to play along some of those girls in the years to come. But yeah, I think Benoni is one of my favourite places to play it actually, because I feel like the crowd never disappoints, and cricket conditions pretty good as well.
In the Men's World Cup, Australia were all out for 181 in their Group B match against Sri Lanka, as Travis Head top scored with 56, while Dusan Hemata took 3 for 37. In response, the co-hosts are currently 27 for the loss of 1 that's in the fourth over, needing 155 runs in 99 balls for victory. At the creases, Mendes on 7 alongside Nasanka on 18. Switching over to football, where Miguel Cardoso has told his Mamelodi Sundowns players to build on their near-perfect performance against MC Alger. That's when they face Orlando Pirates in the Betway Premiership on Wednesday. Their 2-0 triumph in the CAF Champions League secured them a spot in the quarterfinals, while they go into the title showdown 6 points behind the Buccaneers.
What we expect is that we can stick to those emotions. And when we set a standard, obviously that we stick to that standard. But every day is a new day in football. It's not mathematic. Otherwise, we would use always the same formula to solve our problems. I usually say that for the one that has only a hammer as a tool, all the problems look like nails. And we need to understand that not all the problems are nails. So you need to use other tools in order to solve our problems throughout our way ahead.
Steve Tandy insists there are some positives to take from Wales' Six Nations campaign, despite a 54-12 thrashing by France. The 8-try victory for Le Bleu condemned the Dragons to a 13th straight tournament defeat.
Obviously disappointed with the scoreline, but I feel like you've got to tip your hat to France what they brought, but I thought there was more in us today. The path we were on, I thought there were glimpses today. I thought some of the set-piece stuff, I thought some of the intent of how we wanted to go after the game. We've come up against a class team, but ultimately I think there's enough in us, what I've seen today from the boys, that we can go back in on Tuesday. And I know it's not the scoreline, but ultimately it's part of the journey and the road we're on.
And Lloyd Harris won his second straight tournament on the ATP Challenger Tour after beating Alejandro Marocana 7-5 and 7-5 in Sunday's final. That success comes on the back of his Summer Bay triumph over Jack Pennington-Jones, who retired hurt in the second set of their final. That's while trailing 6-1 and 5-2. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
16 minutes to 6. EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Delays in four ways. Karabo Charlie's here to navigate.
Yeah, you can expect about a 30-minute delay. That's in the four ways area on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen. Polshof also about a 30-minute delay on Witkoppen Road between Main and Rivonia Road, while in Bryanston, traffic remains heavily backed up heading towards four ways on the N1 southbound from the Between Change all the way to Winnie Mandela Drive. Melrose traveling towards the Joburg CBD. Traffic is a bit sluggish. M1 South between Ethel Oakland and Killarney Bends. In Glen Austin, Midrand, expect some delays on Allendale Road between Old Pretoria Road and Mastiff. While in Alex, traveling towards Germiston, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay. N3 southbound from the Between Change to Van Buren. Tembisa, slow-moving traffic heading towards Irene. That's the R21 northbound approaching Olifantsfontein Road, and in Edenville, bumper traffic. That's heading towards Bedford View. Traffic heavily backed up on the R24 westbound from Edenville Road to the Gilulis interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent shuttling his kids, with a back seat full of chatter, laughter, lunch boxes, and lost shoes. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a regular yet special slice of a family's life. Every story's different, and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Stay with 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Okay, we've got time now to enjoy some music, all structured around a theme that we chose. Today, pretty simple, really. Songs that have a woman's name in the title. Jonathan Fairbairn, you've got one for us. Give us the title before I ask you a question.
So we wanted to keep it local,
Okay.
and the title is called Charlotte. Now, I think this song came out back in 2017, and it was all over local radio stations. And it's quite repetitive. The lyrics are quite repetitive.
Yes.
It's like, I need to see you, Charlotte, and she goes on. And the song started irritating me. I was like, who is the Charlotte? What is the Charlotte? What has she done? Why is this woman asking about Charlotte? And it turns out that the song was written about a woman had heard her husband say Charlotte in his sleep.
Oh, okay.
So then she now wants to know who Charlotte is, and she starts questioning all
Fair
about
question.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
So Prince KB featuring Lady Zamar, Charlotte.
Here we go. Let's enjoy it.
Right here with you, I need to be alone now. Right now, right here with you, I need to be alone now. Right now, right here with you, I need to be alone now. Right now, right here with you, I need to speak to Charlotte. I need to call Charlotte. I need to tell Charlotte. He don't need you, Charlotte. I need to speak to Charlotte. I need to see Charlotte. I need to tell Charlotte. He don't need you, Charlotte. I need to speak to Charlotte. I need to call Charlotte. I need to tell Charlotte. He don't need you, Charlotte. I need to speak to Charlotte. I need to see Charlotte. I need to tell Charlotte. I need to be alone.
Prince KB featuring Lady Zamar. The song's called Charlotte. The year was 2017. So, do you have a song with a woman's name in the title that has special meaning for you, or that you just think is a great song? Drop me a note on that on 072 702 1702. It's 11 minutes to 6.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
There's a WhatsApp message from Chad who says, my dad expects me to marry a textbook one day. He seldom asks about how I am, only wants to know how my studies are. This studies sounds like she's from a good family, is what Chad has to say. How would you respond to that?
My heart really goes out to parents because it's not an easy task. But we're so hyper-focused on one element of a child's development being their scholastic or academic that we're not nurturing their social skills and their interpersonal relationship skills. And this is a challenge because it sets them up for failure in those areas later in life.
Counseling psychologist Yogini Hackery.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
In business, the right connections change everything. It's the stability you need for that once-in-a-lifetime virtual pitch, the lightning-fast speeds that keep you ahead of deadlines, and the consistent, high-quality signal your teams rely on every day. Because when your connectivity works seamlessly, so does your business. Power your workday with fast, reliable fiber from OpenServe, built to keep your operations running at full speed. Visit openserve.co.za today to learn more. T's and C's apply.
Get the advantage this tax year end with Sage. No stress, no scrambling. Just seamless HR and payroll that keeps you ahead of UIF, PAYE, and employment equity, all in one smart cloud solution. With automated compliance, real-time accuracy, and simplified HR and payroll, give your business the tax year end advantage. That's Sage. Visit tax.sage.co.za today.
702 Drive with John Perlman was proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John. My name is Harry from Soweto. Yeah, the song I can think of is by Dolly Parton called Jolene. Yeah, she says when she explains it, it was a lady who used to work at the bank. That lady used to take care of her husband while she was on music tours. All right, thank you so much, John. Bye.
Hi, John. Thanks for a super show. I'm thinking Smokey. Oh, Carol, you got me eating my heart away. Yeah, that's a classic. Thanks for a lekker show once again, John. That's Jimmy from Pretoria.
I was out cruising, getting late, and I was losing when I saw you walking my way. So long, too long, I bet you get what you want. It's all the why, and I ain't losing today. Well, your hips were swinging and your jeans were clinging. You were driving me out of my mind. On a hot afternoon when there's nothing to do, you're not the sort of thing a fella's just fine. So full on over, you tossed your hair off your shoulders as you turned and you looked my way. Oh, you would have died and you'd have scared me alive if I'd have said what I wanted to say. So being polite, so what you doing tonight? You said just so happens I'm free. You got all the right curves and all the right words, and that's all right by me. Oh, Carol, you got me eating my heart away. You got me counting my nights and days. Oh, I'm floating on the Milky Way.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I'm not sure if any of you have songs that you just love the song and it's got a woman's name in it. Did any of them kind of speak to you because of the actual name that was used? When I was in matric, I was madly in love with somebody called Sarah. And in that year, Bob Dylan came out, 1976, with an album called Desire that had a song called Sarah. Gorgeous, gorgeous, lovely, delicate love song. And I thought it was an omen. It wasn't. Anyway, chapter 4 is the name of the person who sent us this particular WhatsApp, Laura Brannigan. Gloria, let's hear it. Laura Brannigan with Gloria. So many suggestions. Mac, All for One, Mona Lisa. What else? Eric Clapton, Alberta. Thank you for that. Chad, a lovely message from Badimo about the show. Thank you, Badimo. We really appreciate that. Lee Ola says, Living Next Door to Alice by Smoking. And Tutu says, for me, Pamela by Toto. Here we go with the voice notes again.
Hello, John. David from Boxburg here. We had a friend and he used to date a girl called Stephanie, and the song that he really enjoyed was George Benson's Stephanie. And then there's also the Spinners song called Sadie that's really enjoyable. Thank you.
Good day, Malumi John. Good day. First time whatever, full time listener. There's a song by Vocalistic called Dipu. Please, it's a song with the female's name in the beginning.
Kitawa Dipu, Tawatu, Adifele. Kitawa Dipu, Tawatu, Adifele. Osana Marena, Osana Marena, Osana Marena. Kitawa Dipu, Tawatu, Adifele. Pasa Calerona, Baseba Caron, Panya Corfeta. I beg to send her. I beg to send her. Long as mama's alambele tape long time.
Dipuo by Focalistic. Here's another suggestion on 0727021702.
Hey, John, I don't know why this is the one that sprung to mind, but a few years ago, I was introduced to a young lady named Sharona, and my response upon being introduced to her was, my Sharona. And she just stared at me blankly. I said, you must get that all the time. And she went, what are you talking about? So yeah, the song that sprang to mind was My Sharona.
Lee's suggestion, Mary had a little lamb. Yeah, right. We looked for it, Lee. Couldn't find it in the library. But even if we had, you know what? We may not have played it. One more.
Hey, John. It's Papa from Lenesia. The song it will be Give Me Hope, Joanna, by Eddie Grant. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a few of you asking for that song. Some asked for the Dr. Victor version. That was Eddie Grant with the original. I'm John Perlman. I hope you've had a decent Monday. We've loved having you with us on 702 Drive. The Money Show is next. Aubrey Masango is with you after that. And before you know it, we'll be back tomorrow. Good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Corporate and Investment Banking, a Pan-African bank that's invested in your story because your story matters.